Extra deals. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox hit 5 home runs en route to an 11-7 win over the Yankees last night. Sox take 2 out of 3 in that series. They're back home tonight. Start a 3-game set against Tampa Bay. 7:10 first pitch. Brian Bayo will be on the mound. NBA Finals Game 2 last night. Thunder rolled past the Pacers 123-107. Series tied at 1 with Game 3 Wednesday night in Indiana. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight down in Florida. Panthers and Oilers tied at a game apiece. Face off 8 o'clock here on the Sports Hub. Patriots begin their 3-day mandatory minicamp today in Foxborough. 4-time Pro Bowl running back Nick Chubb reportedly set to sign with the Houston Texans today. Injuries held him to just 10 games combined over his last 2 years in Cleveland. And Carlos Alcaraz won his second straight men's French Open title with a 5.5-hour, 5-set victory over top seed Yannick Sinner. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catchus Law. At Catchus, they specialize in helping those who have been injured, not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchusLaw.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 98.5sportshub.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Hardy.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Many fights.
Do you?
Ready.
All right, welcome into Toucher and Hardy here on a Monday morning. Everybody's got the day off.
Everybody?
Almost everybody.
Except for?
You know, Michael, Ryan Johnston, Michael Holly in for the guys today.
Always good to see you, brother.
You too. In fact, last year, this very day, you were here when I launched my candidacy to be the voice of the Bruins on NESN, which, of course, later became voice of the Bruins on radio.
I remember that, and I think I remember telling you that you needed to get a little nasty. That the campaign was good, it was solid, it was smart, but you're dealing with vipers, man. You got a prime position. The play-by-play guy for the Boston Bruins. You can't just go in there and say, yeah, I'm the man for the job. You need to take some people out. And you don't have to confirm this. I'm sure behind the scenes, you took some people down.
Might have kneecapped a few people.
You kneecapped some people. Some people's reputations changed. It seemed to be out of nowhere, but I know you had the invisible hand working behind the scenes. So I applaud you. I applaud you for doing whatever it takes to get the job. You got it.
But good to be here. Good to see you. Good to be anywhere, really. I mean, have you ever had, over your illustrious career, have you had a lengthy period of time where you were on the sidelines?
Yes. Yes, I have. So when you say good to be anywhere, yeah, I think I'm understanding what you're saying.
So in this job, when the Bruins season ends to the time that training camp begins, I don't have a lot of responsibilities, occasionally filling in here when when I'm available or whatever. But other than that, it's like I'm just filling time all summer long.
Don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud. Just like you got to tell people you're so busy. You're so busy after the season. You're studying. You're getting inside information.
Well, obviously, I'm
okay.
doing all
Yeah.
that.
You can't let people know that there is a down period, because then they'll put more. You'll get more work. You don't want more work. As a matter of fact, you can tell us now.
Yeah.
How much inside information did you have on the Bruins coaching search? Because everybody else is like, what's going on? Why is it taking so long? Who are they going to hire? Do they want Mike Sullivan? Do they want this guy? How about him? Did you know? And you brag a little bit. How long ago did you know that Marco Sturm was the guy?
I did not know until the announcement was made, but the people around me would tell you I called Marco Sturm pretty early on in the process.
And why him?
It made a lot of sense to me. Number one, they know him. There's a history there, which, people will point to, the Bruins always hire people that they know, which isn't necessarily true. I mean, Jim Montgomery wasn't one of their guys, but that's kind of typical with a lot of hockey teams as it is in real life, really. Are you more comfortable hiring somebody that you've got some experience with, whose personality or some complete stranger that you've never worked with before? I mean, there's just a natural comfort level there. He's an up-and-coming coach. His name was already coming up in other coaching searches and whatnot. It feels like the league thinks he's ready to be a head coach. There were a lot of things that kind of pointed in that direction to me. Not to mention that where your roster is right now, it wasn't necessarily going to be a great fit for Mike Sullivan or Peter Laviolette or one of the guys who's going to be, who was going to be recycled as part of the process. It's more of a first-time head coach's gig right now, because you're going to have a lot of new faces here, whether they're veteran faces that you trade, free agent signings, guys that you're bringing up, whatever. It made sense to me to start with a fresh face as the head coach.
I would love to know what the contract status is, because if you're going to be that honest as an organization, that we're not quite where a veteran coach would want us to be, what you're really saying is we're not going to be very good. So if you're not going to be very good, don't talk to me about a 2 or 3 year contract. I need to talk about 4 or 5 year contracts, which now that's saying a lot for a first-time head coach. Most first-time head coaches don't have that leverage to say, I need this. Maybe that's why it took so long.
It could be.
It took so long just contractually. How do you – okay, we share the same vision for what the team is, what the timeline's going to be. All right, yeah, good. We're all on the same page. Now, how do you compensate me for that? How do I protect myself? I'm just looking at it from a coach's perspective. How do I protect myself from what is going to be a pretty tricky coaching situation, maybe for a couple of years?
I will say this, though. They believe, and they have said it publicly, they want to be a playoff team next year.
Okay, now you're delusional. No, I'm not.
You're not delusional.
I'm not. What?
Is it going to be easy to get there? No, but they basically have to remake it half their roster right now.
Well, that's what I mean. And of course, if you're a coach, you're a competitor, a former professional athlete, you're not going to go into any situation and say we have no chance. That's just not your nature. Most athletes are not wired that way. That's why you got to have an agent come in and say, look, the reason you're getting this job is because other veteran coaches who have options say, no, I'm not doing that. That might be my last opportunity. Maybe I'm a two-time head coach. This is my third opportunity. I can't have this one. The challenge here, a rebuild. You know what it is? That's the word we're looking for. It's a rebuilding situation.
It's not a rebuild. It's a retooling,
How do you
Michael.
Say it's not a rebuild. What do they have? The 7th pick? They had the 7th pick.
A rebuild to me means strap in. We're going to suck for 2 or 3 years at least. Right, we're going to collect draft picks. We're going to use those draft picks. We're going to draft and develop. Like that, to me, is a rebuild.
I didn't say you're the Buffalo Sabres. I didn't say
well.
No,
they've been
rebuilding for like a
15
decade.
years.
Right. I didn't say you're that. But you finished 7th in the league. I mean, well, you wound up with the 7th pick in the draft for a reason. Brad Marchand's in Florida for a reason. You started looking at, okay, what are we doing? Who are we keeping? Who's indispensable? Who's dispensable? And if you look at the Bruins now, it's not to say they have no talent, but look at it this way, RJ. I always want to, just to find out where you are, I look at the champions of any sport. So I go to the top. So now we're in the final two in basketball. We're in the final two in hockey. So where are we compared to the top of the sport? Are we halfway there? Are we, is it not even halfway there? Are we years away? Are we 3 years away? Are we 2 years away? I think they're probably a good 3 years away from being where Florida and Edmonton are right now. And I'm being
okay,
nice.
but there's a difference between that and being where Montreal is, because they made it into the playoffs.
Okay,
right. There's a difference between being the Toronto Maple Leafs 108 points versus Montreal 91 points. That'll be enough to get you into the playoffs. I didn't say they were going to be a championship contender next year. But can they be a wild card team in the East next year? Yeah. Can they get to the level of where Columbus, Detroit, the Rain, like all those teams were in the mix this year? Can they be that? Yeah, they can be that, and they can probably be a little bit better than that if the moves that they make this offseason are the right ones. And if, they spend they got a lot of cap dollars to spend. They spend those wisely and put good pieces in there. If Jeremy Swayman, there's a lot of ifs there, but
right.
If Jeremy Swayman has a better year defensively as a team, they're better. If Marco Sturm comes in and he's a more defense first, oriented coach, if he shores that up, can they win more than 33 games next year? Absolutely.
So if they are, and this is looking for loopholes, because this goes back to negotiating. All right. If they are in the playoff conversation going to the final weekend of the year and they just miss it, is that a disappointment for Marco Sturm? Is that not for Sturm?
Right.
Is that a disappointment for Don Sweeney and Cam Neely? Do they say, hey, we failed in the first year of Sturm? Because I still think it's closer to, it's not a total rebuild. It's not Buffalo, breakdown, just total dysfunction. But there were some real issues that were exposed. I'm telling you, you know better.
I sat through a lot of them.
You know better than most. And listen, RJ, I had the pleasure of listening to you call the games, and I could hear in your voice. Like, hey, you wanted to cuss sometimes. You're like, here we go again. Here it is. So there were some real flaws, some real deficiencies on this team.
And unexpected, too. Like, a lot of that stuff was unexpected. Early in the year, when you have a team that's built around defense and goaltending, it was pretty apparent pretty early on. It's like, this is not what we were anticipating. And it's not what the management was anticipating, because they fired the coach 20 games in because they knew this is not going the direction that we expected. Yeah, listen, I think ultimately, like I said, they've done a lot of the tear down part already. You shipped out your captain, you shipped out Brandon Carlo and Charlie Coyle, and a lot of leadership is gone from the room, which is going to be one of the big tests this coming year. Is okay, so Pasternak, McAvoy, guys like that are already here. Do they take a larger leadership role? Are you bringing in veteran free agents or veteran trade guys who can help fill that void? Who ends up wearing the captain's seat? Does anybody do that? Does Sturm wait a year or so before he picks somebody and want to see who these guys are and what they're about? Like, that's going to be kind of fascinating to watch as the season goes on. But I think there's an opportunity with the money that they've got, with the draft assets that they've got here, and then the draft's coming up here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, where they can make some moves and bring in some good talent to fill the many holes that they've got on this roster, and that by the time we get to opening night, you may not recognize a lot of what we've seen in this team.
This is probably a good time to say, RJ, that Marco Sturm will be in studio tomorrow with Felger and Maz.
That is the plan.
Felger and Maz tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that because those guys have not been shy about what they think of the hire or what they thought of the coaching search. I mean, Felger, I can't wait to see how he responds. Face to face with Sturm because Felger has said for weeks, "Hey, I'm prepared to be unimpressed and uninspired by whoever they bring in."
I'm really intrigued. So there's the press conference is tomorrow morning to officially announce Marco Sturm. It's already been officially announced.
He's been on the gram.
You know, he will. Yeah.
Come on, Bruins fans, let's do this. Do what? What are you prepared to do? Let's do this. What? Win a cup, go to the playoffs, revive the franchise. I want to know what this is for him.
So, I haven't really, I'm obviously aware of who he is as a player and all that, but he's been coaching in the American Hockey League, so it's not like he's a big name or a big face as far as coaching goes. So I'm just intrigued to kind of hear him speak at the press conference tomorrow and on Felger and Maz to see what it is they see in this guy. I think you've seen plenty of these introductory press conferences. Sometimes that first impression, you go, wow, this guy, you understand why that guy.
I can see it. Right?
Sometimes you get that first impression, you go, oh, this is going to be rough.
Yeah. And
now, sometimes that turns out to be wrong.
I think I know exactly where you're going at being the football fan that you are. Is that the example
Nick Sirianni?
Right.
Nick Sirianni's intro press conference in Philadelphia
a disaster.
Was I remember like texting my dad, who's an Eagles season ticket holder, like, oh no.
How'd they pick this? What was Howie Roseman thinking?
This is not good.
Guy?
I mean, listen, I think we still had that feeling after the crying during the national anthem at the Super Bowl. That the first time he went to the Super Bowl was like, this is not good. I think I still had that issue when Nick Sirianni was going after fans at home behind the bench
after they beat the Browns.
Right,
like you beat the Cleveland Browns by like 3 points or 5 points or whatever it was.
But ultimately, he won a championship.
He's a guy, and you look at his record.
He solidified himself.
You look at his record. The record's pretty. He's been to 2 Super Bowls already.
Yeah.
And blew out in both Super Bowls against Kansas City. Blew them out the last time, obviously, and the first time. I thought it was they got hosed on a terrible hold on Juju Smith-Schuster of all people drawing a holding. Was that on Slay?
Yeah.
That I felt like they could have won that game. So yeah, you're right. Sometimes the press conference, it looks a little batty, a little nutty, and it turns out well. Detroit, Dan Campbell. Remember the Dan Campbell one?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
We're gonna come after you. We're gonna bite the kneecaps and all that stuff.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I remember Mike Flynn and I doing probably this show, filling in the day after. I don't remember whether it was Bobby Valentine or John Farrell. It had to have been Bobby Valentine.
Yeah, Bobby was
where we came on the air. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, what? Are you serious with this? But I don't remember if it was Bobby Valentine because it was so kind of off the wall because Bobby Valentine, or whether it was John Farrell where we went, this guy's going to motivate the team, because he didn't really seem to have a lot of pep in his step.
No, I don't think it was John Farrell, because John Farrell followed the craziness of Bobby V. So even if he was buttoned up and corporate, which he was,
right?
You looked at it and said, okay, good. Okay, now we got a professional. We got somebody who's just going to do the job. Let the players have the personality. He's just going to come in and push the right buttons, which he did. But I don't know if I told you this story before or if I've mentioned this on the air. The day Bobby Valentine was hired, it just so happened we used to do across the street. We used to do this thing called dinner. Well, first of all, it was lunch with Tito. It started off with lunch with Tito.
Yeah.
So caller, you could call in. We used to do a weekly hit with Terry Francona. You call in, you'd ask a question, or you write in, you get a question for the manager. So every week, how many ever hits he did, we'd pick the 4 best questions, kind of put it in the lottery, blend it up there, pick a name, and the winning person, you get to have lunch with Terry Francona in his office.
Okay.
At the end of the season. And then that turned into dinner with Francona, I think at Mohegan Sun.
Not bad.
You can see how that becomes. how the draw there especially for Tito, who liked to put a little action on things. So he had been fired after the chicken and beer season, and he said, "I said you're probably not going to do the dinner with these." Oh, yes, I am.
Free trip to Mohegan.
It's still a Mohegan Sun, right? And dinner's paid for, right? You're going to have alcohol there? Okay, good. We're good. So that the day we had the dinner with Tito was the same day, just coincidentally, that Bobby Valentine was hired.
No kidding.
So he's down there. We're having dinner with him, and he's showing, and I knew it was going to be a disaster because he's showing us text messages from Red Sox players who are MFing Bobby Valentine before they even played for him. So he's like, oh, here's Josh Beckett. Okay, here's Pedroia. And they're all responding. He was like, and he's showing the phone. Hey, look at this one. Look at this one. So yeah, that was one and done, and we could see that one coming even before spring training.
Was it you guys who were interviewing Tito when he got in a car accident?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, mid-interview. Yeah. If you've never heard that audio,
yeah,
it's awesome.
And of course he had to play it up. You know, he goes, "Oh bleep, somebody just rear-ended me." Yeah. Think it was a Yankees fan. No, he played it up though. Was not a Yankees fan.
All right. So Michael and I are in for the guys today. I'm in here for the next few days, actually. Hardy and Wallach will be back tomorrow.
Make yourself comfortable.
Yeah. Fred will not be. Is he out all week?
He is out on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's traveling to Detroit with his daughter to see Kendrick Lamar and SZA. So they're doing a little midweek field trip out to Detroit.
Got to go all the way to Detroit to see Kendrick Lamar?
Fred claims it was cheaper to fly to Detroit and see the show at Ford Field than it was to go and see it. It would have been to go and see it at Gillette, which was it last week or the week before, whenever he played.
Plus it's quicker to get home to wait until the next day
exactly.
and then fly home from Detroit than it is to try and drive home from Gillette.
Yes.
So he's scheduled to be out Tuesday and Wednesday?
That's correct.
12? All right,
yeah.
I'm going to say he's not scheduled to be out Thursday and Friday, but after he races a golf cart, I think he may be on the injured list.
Oh,
I think a hammy might pop up on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah. So the reason everybody is out today is the station golf tournament. Would have thought that maybe my new position would have got me a slot into that, but apparently not.
Got you a slot right here.
Got me the slot that I've had for the last 15 years, which is filling in on this show every time we have the station golf tournament. But Hardy is going to check in with us at 7:25 this morning from the golf tournament because, as Adam just mentioned, or as you just mentioned, Fred is going to be racing a golf cart today. Not like driving, like he is going to run and try and run faster than a golf cart in a 40-yard dash.
What's the most souped-up golf cart you can think of? How fast do those things go?
That's a good question.
That depends on the course.
Ryan Beaton, how fast does a golf cart go? You're our kind of, since Hardy's not here, you're our resident. He claims the golf cart can go 10 miles an hour.
Oh,
so
come on. You should be able to run 10 miles an hour.
It probably takes a little bit to warm up and get going.
It depends. So I've been playing a decent amount of golf here in the last month and a half. Different golf courses, making the rounds of the great golf courses of the Merrimack Valley, which is a very long list. Some golf carts, you step on that gas, man, they go.
It's pick up.
They go. Some of them, you step on that, it takes like a second or two before the transmission really kicks in, and you're just kind of putt-putting, and then it starts to steam. So it could be, I mean, the odds maker is going to have a difficult time setting the number on this one.
He should be able to outrun. If it's 10 miles per hour?
12 to 15, we're upping that.
Okay. Now wait a minute.
So now it's becoming
all
a real
right.
contest.
Now it's competitive.
Yeah.
Now, 12. That's
so that was your cutoff there? 10 miles an hour, yes, no problem. 12,
I don't know. Then 15, no chance.
So we'll talk to Hardy about that coming up at 7:25 this morning as we'll check in with the guys out there before they tee off. We will get into some of what happened last night. Obviously, the NBA Finals Game 2 last night. We got the Red Sox. Some questions about the effort of one of their players, the same guy again.
Star players.
And and Alex Cora's take on that. So we'll get into all that coming up. 617-779-0985. You can join us as well. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for the guys today on Toucher and Hardy.
Finally.
Monday morning in for the guys. What happened last night brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. Change your lettuce, change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Red Sox playing in the Bronx last night, Michael. Looking to take 2 out of 3 against the hated Bronx Bombers.
They're still hated?
Of course they are.
They're still there?
Well, I mean, a
It
certain pitcher said he'd rather retire than play for the Yankees over the weekend. That pitcher's name is Hunter Dobbins, who faced Aaron Judge in the first inning. Can I get some audio there, Adam?
You should have it up.
I should.
Nothing, huh?
I got nothing.
Ryan, can you take a look at that? In the meantime, tell me which highlight you
Highlight
like,
one, please. We'll start at the very beginning.
All right, let's do that right here.
This ball is smoked, and Aaron Judge has hurt a rookie again. Second deck for Judge, 108 miles an hour off the bat. Just like that, it's 2-0 New York.
I mean, that couldn't have been a more predictable start to the game.
That's right.
So Hunter Dobbins, if you missed it over the weekend, Hunter Dobbins said his dad grew up a Red Sox fan. Like, he wanted to play baseball, so he wasn't like a fan of a particular team.
And grew up not in Vermont or New Hampshire or Massachusetts, in Texas. He grew up in Texas, a lifelong Red Sox fan from Texas, and who said he would rather retire than play for the Yankees.
I believe the quote was, if the Yankees were the only team offering me a contract, I'd rather retire.
Come on. I mean, no, it's great, though. It tells me that the kid has a feel. He's got a sense for the dramatic. He knows how to stoke this thing, because you know what would happen.
It's such crap.
It is crap, but I like it. I like it. It's total BS. Nobody believes it. But it does something to animate a rivalry that was pretty dormant. It's been dormant for a couple of years. I mean, they had when the Red Sox made their run in 21, I think it was 21, when they beat the Yankees here. And okay, all right, got a little juice here. And then they've been bad. The Yankees have been pretty good. So you don't have a lot of
it doesn't feel like it did back.
No
in the
big
day.
moments, and it's probably never going to be that again.
No. Here was Jazz Chisholm from the Yankees' take on the kid's statement.
But like I was saying about that comment, I feel like if the Yankees was the only team offering you a job, that would be crazy, because the Yankees is one of the best sports franchises in the world. So I don't think that is even possible that that's the only team would offer you a job, if it's the Yankees.
Because the Yankees are all the way up here, and the rest of the league is all the way down here.
Well, it's like
if the Yankees are offering you a contract, what are we doing? Every team's going to want you.
It's like that old poster back in the days from people of a certain age. Remember, New Yorker's view of the world. It's like New York. It's all New York, and everything else. It's like Chicago is 20,000 miles away, because everything you need is happening in New York City.
Well, once he got past that little hurdle in the first inning, Dobbins was good. In fact, they took him out after 5 innings.
Got the win.
64 pitches, Michael.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah, I know. I know.
What are we doing?
Listen.
64 pitches.
It's the hill I want to die on. I've died on the hill. I have died. I'm dead. It doesn't, like, you say 64 pitches, and then we can keep going. 64 pitches. It's the aces who give you 165 innings in a season. Like, I don't get it. I still don't.
Not 80 pitches, 90 pitches.
Yeah.
He's 5 innings, 64 pitches. It is the fewest pitches he's thrown in a start this year, and yet they lift him after 5. And of course, the bullpen starts giving up runs right away.
Everybody goes through the Goes to the dugout, high fives. Hey, you did your job. You gave us a chance to win. Give us a good five. Give us a good five. You're probably But let's ice that arm right now. 64 pitches.
Probably didn't even need to ice it down. 64 pitches. That's like a bullpen session. It's all good. The bats did their job though last night.
That ball is drilled left field, and Narvaez has his moment. The former Yankee comes back to the stadium and delivers a 3-run blast to put Alex Cora's Red Sox ahead.
One of 5 home runs last night for the Red Sox. Narvaez goes deep, makes it a 5-3 game. Red Sox just kind of cruise from there. 11-7 was the final. Now, we also have to talk about something else that happened.
Yes, we do.
So, I believe this is the 6th inning. I was just showing Michael this clip. I'm sure you were probably watching the basketball game last night.
There was a basketball game last night?
We'll get to that. So, Red Sox go, they put up 5 runs in the 6th inning, right? They bat around. Rafael Devers led off the inning. Rafael Devers comes up with, I believe, 2 men on and 2 out. He hits a weak little ground ball towards second base, and he's thrown out at first. End of the inning. But when you look at this, there was a shot of him beating this ball out, except that he quit running halfway down the first baseline. And he's staring at the second baseman, LeMahieu, who's making the play the whole way down the line. And he just, breaks into a half-hearted jog the way you would if you hit it like a screaming line, screaming one-hopper at the second baseman, and he's going to throw you out by 30 feet.
Or the way you would, it's a screaming drive at the second baseman. He just catches it.
You're already out.
He catches it.
Right?
Okay, all right, you got me.
So he's running for about halfway, and then he just starts jogging. So Alex Cora, as Devers is coming back to the dugout, clearly asks him, like, hey, why didn't you run that out?
Are you hurt?
Like, what's going on? Devers says something just as he walks past him, and Cora's face, his eyes kind of get, like, wide. Like, he's not impressed with what he just heard. Let's put it that way. Don't know what he said, but it's clear that he's not happy with what he just heard. So you think, okay, 2 things are possible here. One is that Devers just quit on the play, didn't hustle it out, could have potentially extended the inning and decided it wasn't worth it. Or he's hurt, right? Something happened. He felt something. Now, you have followed baseball for a long time, as I have. When there's even the hint of an injury, particularly to a star player like Devers, they get him out of the game immediately.
Got to get out of there. Yep.
Because it's a 162 game season, Michael. You can't. You don't screw around with that stuff. Potentially turn it into something worse and have a guy land on the injured list for weeks at a time.
Right.
No, take him out. Let him sit. Maybe don't play today, tomorrow, and then he'll be fine by midweek, right? Well, they didn't do that. So after the game, Alex Cora gets asked about it. Now, we don't have the audio of this, but I'll give you Christopher Smith from Mass Live tweeted the text of the conversation last night. Alex Cora on Rafael Devers' 6th inning ground ball. Question: was that a lack of hustle or something else? Cora: it wasn't lack of hustle. Question:
what was it?
Something going on with him physically? Answer: no, it wasn't lack of hustle. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Wait. Question: broadcast showed him grimacing. Does he have anything going on that would merit it? Quote: no, I mean, like, we talk about it, and if he needs a blow, he needs a blow. The next one, I told him to go hit it out of the ballpark and jog. Which, of course, was the reference to him hitting a home run in the ninth inning.
Yeah. RJ, I have defended Devers more than most, because most people have just jumped on him and come in swinging. How could he not? First of all, how could he be upset when they asked him to go from third to DH. Do what's best for the team. So he did it. He pouted, but he did it. And so I felt like I was one of those people too. Come on, man. You're not a great defensive third baseman. They're asking you to hit full time. Unlike RJ, you're not going to come in and say, I got nothing else to do. You're going to be like, okay, great. That's all you want me to do? You want me to hit? Okay, I'll hit. Leave me alone.
Less work, same pay?
Okay, great. I'll be the highest paid DH in the history of baseball, and I'll be happy with it. But then they asked him to go they asked him to be a DH, and they asked him to go to first and maybe go back to third. I can understand a little the pettiness that he's displayed, the anger that he's displayed. I've defended him mostly because he's done the job as a DH. But this is indefensible. Even if you think you're going to be thrown out. Now, I'm not saying go crazy. I'm not saying do what Mike Greenwell used to do and just like dive head first into first base. Don't do that. But at least run it out.
You're talking
run it all the way out. That is not asking
10 more steps. 10 more steps to get you there.
He started off fine.
Yeah, he was hustling out of the box.
And so if it's not lack of hustle, it sure did look like lack of hustle. And if it's something else, then so Cora, your explanation just doesn't hold water.
Cora's face when he got back to the dugout when he doesn't know he's on camera, right? When he's just a natural. He says something to Devers. Devers says something back, and Cora's face tells the story, which is, are you kidding me? Like Cora, who went out of his way to not inflame the situations earlier this year with Devers, right? Cora's taken the heat for a lot of that because I'm not going to ask Devers to do something that he's not comfortable with. So he's kind of in his way stuck up for this guy, and Devers is going to show a lack of effort that way, and then Cora's going to go and stick up for him again by being deliberately vague about what happened. Well, it wasn't a lack of hustle. Well, what was it? It just wasn't a lack of hustle. Okay, so is he hurt? No, but it wasn't a lack of hustle.
Yeah.
There's really only two options here. Either something caused him to not run that out, or something didn't cause him to not run that out.
It was an eye roll emoji from Cora when Devers walked by. So I'll give you another possibility, and this is, I wouldn't buy it, but I'm just trying to put everything on the table. There's an injury, possible. There's a lack of hustle, or there is a my bad from Devers where he said, hey, I thought I saw something. I thought that I thought
I didn't think I had a shot at that.
I didn't really think I had a chance of getting there, but then I realized at the last minute. But no, that doesn't hold up either because of the way Cora responded when he walked by. And Devers seemed unaffected by it. He just walked by Cora. Cora looked at him like, hey, what was that? Devers kept on going. Went in the dugout and was going about his business. So I think it's one of those things where I think Cora realizes, and Devers is taking full advantage of it. He just doesn't have any other options on the Boston Red Sox, on these Boston Red Sox with their expectations to do anything with Devers. So yeah, you can sit Devers down. So I know a lot of fans say, hey, sit his ass down. Okay. You sit down Devers, and now you got to rely on, you got a bunch of unreliables, potentially good players, but unreliables. So Trevor Story hit a home run last night, but he's unreliable. Rafaela, you never know what you're going to get. Abreu, you never know what you're going to get. Christian Campbell hit a home run last night, but he's a rookie. He's been struggling. If you take Devers, if you take the hard line with Devers, what do you have with the Red Sox? And if you say, okay, I'm going to suspend you for a game, unofficially.
I mean, could they sat him down for the rest of last night? I mean, the sixth inning last night.
Yeah.
You sit him down for the rest of the game last night.
All right, then what are you getting? Because clearly he's a sensitive artist.
Okay.
This is an artist
but
you're
you've
dealing
got,
with.
As you just pointed, so you've got a locker room full of, a decent amount of young players. You're bringing, Roman Anthony hopefully will be up today or sometime this week.
Never. They're never going to promote.
Right. Apparently not.
We're going to banish you to Worcester forever.
You got Meyer, who's only been up a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like, you've got these young guys who are impressionable, and the star of the team doesn't seem to give a damn. And the manager doesn't do anything about it. So what message are you sending to the other 25 guys on that roster?
Can I tell you what the message is? Exceptional people get away with things that other people don't. It is a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson to learn. You learn it in baseball. You learn it in radio. You learn it in lawyering and accounting and engineering across the board. That's what the Red Sox are sending. That's what the Red Sox are saying to their young players.
So
he's exceptional.
Don't you even think about doing this.
Yeah,
he can do it.
He can do it.
You know what? We'll let him go.
But if you do it, we'll send you back down to Worcester.
Gotcha. So the guy who makes more money than everybody gets to dog it. You rookies, no.
Crazy.
All right. We will get into what happened in the NBA final last night coming up. Finals. I got to remember because I'm a hockey guy, so it's Stanley Cup final.
I'm so glad
it's NBA finals.
I'm so glad you did it because I used to cover basketball and I struggled with the Stanley Cup final.
Yep.
And so I finally got that like maybe 2 years ago.
All right.
Stanley Cup final.
So we will get to that coming up next. Let me give you a quick check of Sports Hub headlines, and we'll continue here. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for Toucher and Hardy.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Oh, amid all that last night, Red Sox did win 11-7 over the Yankees, take 2 out of 3 in the series, return home to Fenway to start a 3-game set against Tampa Bay tonight with Brian Bayo on the mound. NBA Finals Game 2 last night. Thunder with a 123-107 win, tie the series at 1. Game 3 won't be until Wednesday night. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight down in Florida. Panthers and Oilers tied at a game apiece. Face off at 8 o'clock. Patriots begin their 3-day mandatory minicamp today in Foxborough. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy with zero sugar.
Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
It's all about the Fred versus the golf cart race that's happening this morning. I just checked in on the YouTube chat this morning, and somebody said Fred versus Devers running to first. Who wins?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think I'm gonna go with Fred on that one. Devers would get smoked by a golf cart. Golf cart going. Remember, I told you 12.
12.
That was the threshold. Speaking of 12, shout out 12 because I asked for my only request was De La Soul.
You got your De La.
And got it in the first hour. And a very underrated song too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I love that one. I like when they go, oh, yeah. Anyway.
Don't say it.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. 12, I'd say 6. Rafael Devers would get beaten by a golf cart going 6 miles per hour at that pace last night.
At the effort he put in that second half of the run to first.
Come on, Devers.
Well, last night, Michael, also Game 2 of the NBA Finals, which, of course, Game 1, Pacers managed to pull out the victory with the Halliburton shot with 0.3 of a second left. So last night, how would Oklahoma City respond? 12?
Still not working, huh? I thought we had it fixed.
Apparently not.
I had audio a minute ago. Which
let's get a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Maybe the second quarter N1.
All right, we'll do that for a second here.
SGA.
It was kind of like the Pacers offense.
Angles right on the bounce. Elevates and fires a straightaway 17-foot jumper that's nothing but net. Hartenstein sprung with an eclipsing pick. Gilgeous-Alexander 21. Thunder by 18 again.
19-2 run in the second quarter is basically all you needed to know.
That's it. Well, two things. One, the Pacers, just their tendency to come back in these games and the unlikely comebacks, they've had several of them this postseason. It is great for TV. It is great for moments like last night. So I looked at it early third quarter. So I got radio in the morning. All right, I am not hanging out. They don't have it, and if they do have it, I'll be surprised in the morning. But I don't think they got it. But if you're Mike Breen and company, you say, hey, listen. Hey, audience, don't go anywhere.
Hey, can we back up that highlight package of all the comebacks that the Pacers have had this year?
If you're thinking of turning away, don't turn away because this team can come back. That's one. Two, and RJ, I say this with all respect and all vulnerability, honesty. I suck at play-by-play. I never wanted to do it. It was never a dream of mine. I have great admiration for people like you who just make it sound easy. I know it's not easy, but it's you guys make it sound easy. But that being said, the OKC, because I've listened to both play-by-play guys. Mm-hmm. The OKC guy just is when I listen to his play-by-play, I'm unsettled. Like he never makes me feel comfortable. I don't like it. I don't like the way he does play. He's always he's just so high. He's like on something like some uppers or something. But never calms me down and gives me the picture that I'm looking for. So the Indiana guy, I've listened to both of them.
Yeah.
So when I'm in a car, if I have because they give you the option now. I can listen to the OKC broadcast, or I can listen to the Indiana broadcast. So I did that in game 1. Start off with the OKC guy. I've had him before. So I've dealt with this before. I don't know who he is. Probably a nice guy. I hate the way he does play-by-play. I just feel uncomfortable as a listener. Indiana, that's more my speed. Okay, I got a picture. I know what's going wrong. I know what's happening. I'm not about to crash the car. I'm not just all hyped up. And I don't know if you intentionally think about this when you do play-by-play. Like, okay, I'm excited, but I'm going to tell people why. I'm going to show them with my words why I'm excited, not just be excited and they have no idea what the hell's going on.
So I spent some time in Chicago when I was in high school, and the Bears broadcasters I didn't care about the Bears, but I would listen to the Bears radio broadcast because I found it so damn entertaining because Wayne Larrivee was the play-by-play guy. He's now he's a longtime play-by-play guy for the Packers. But when he was starting out, he was in Chicago doing Bears games, and it was him. Dick Butkus was one of the color guys, and this guy Hub Arkush, who's writer. Yeah. So they had a 3-man radio booth for football, and Larrabee is a tremendously excitable guy, but he's a great play-by-play guy. Like, he speaks fast, he's emotional, but you know exactly what's happening. You know where everybody is on the field. But when there was a, say, deep ball touchdown, halfway through the play, you couldn't hear him because it was Butkus and Arkush going, yeah, woo, go, it's like he was just drowned out. But it was hysterical to me because, you would have no idea who had the ball, but you knew he was going to score.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 3-ball. This OKC guy, 3-ball from where? So I like the guys who will give me, like my man Kevin Harlan, who will tell me, all right, here it is, shotgun snap. He bounces off the back of his foot, knee high, or here it is, the left side. It just hits the pylon. I mean, I got a picture. Give me a picture, because most of the time, and this is the obligation you have, RJ. This is the responsibility you have. Most of the time, if people are listening to the radio, they have no idea. They would rather watch it. They'd rather watch it, but okay, they can't watch it. You've got to just give them the picture. You got to give them the watching experience with your words. And some guys take that responsibility seriously, and other guys like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
All right, so gut feel, is that it?
No,
it's tied 1-1. Can the Pacers hang if the Thunder play? I mean, the Thunder play that way. Can they hang?
I'll just make this really plain. I'm going to be honest with you. The Pacers must win because I got some action on the Pacers in this series. They have to win this series.
I got the Pacers plus 2.5 games,
okay,
so I just need to stretch it to 6. just get one more.
There we go. You got to win game 2 or game 3. I mean game 3 or game 4.
Right.
At the whatever they call that place these days, Gainesboro
Fieldhouse.
Yeah. So win one of those games, and you got a series.
Stretch it to 6. That's all I'm asking for.
Or win it.
All right, we got a game we're gonna play coming up next. Adam 12 has put together some sort of a game for you and I. Neither one of us have any details of what this is, so we'll find it out next. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for Toucher and Hardy.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Women in the trades who get up early every morning to keep our homes and businesses running, keep working hard, and finish every job strong.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox homered 5 times, beat the Yankees last night 11-7, take 2 out of 3 in that series in the Bronx. They come back home tonight to start a 3-game set against Tampa Bay. 7:10 first pitch. Brian Bayo will be on the mound. NBA Finals Game 2 last night. Thunder with a 123-107 win over the Pacers. That series tied at a game apiece. Game 3 Wednesday night in Indiana. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight down in Florida. Panthers and Oilers tied at a game apiece. Face off 8 o'clock right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Patriots will begin a 3-day mandatory minicamp today in Foxborough. Noon is practice time. 4-time Pro Bowl running back Nick Chubb reportedly set to sign with the Houston Texans today. And Carlos Alcaraz won his second straight men's French Open title. A 5.5-hour, 5-set victory over top seed Yannick Sinner. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenhiser Home Services. For a limited time, Rodenhiser offers up to $2,000 off a new AC system. And with next-day installation, flexible financing, and rebates, now's the time. Go to Rodenhiser.com for your free estimate. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Is elongating.
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
All right, it's Toucher and Hardy here on a Monday. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holly filling in for the guys who are out at the station golf tournament today. Would you rather be here or would you rather be golfing? I mean, really?
You'd rather be here, right?
Of course.
Are you a good golfer?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I haven't played a lot in years, but I'm playing a lot now.
So you're not being honest then. I don't play. So I don't play. So I'd rather be here. But you actually play, so you would much rather play.
If I wasn't here this morning, I would have a tee time probably in about 2 hours.
Okay. So you'd rather play a little bit later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I will do it.
You're not a 7 a.m. tee time kind of guy.
I will be when we start getting those 95-degree days. Like, get me out there at 7 a.m., get off the course before it gets, into the brutal hot of the afternoon. But for now, when it's, in the 70s, a nice 9:30, 10 o'clock tee time is perfect.
Sounds perfect.
But we've got a game to play, Michael.
Okay, good. I can't wait.
Adam 12 has put together a game for us and has told us nothing about it. So 12?
So I will tell you about it now. We were, of course, have the misfortune this month of June to not have the Celtics in the playoffs, to not have the Bruins in the playoffs. And when I saw that it would be the two of you as the esteemed host and co-host this morning, it got me thinking, well, we have a Bruins a guy, and we have a guy who specializes in the Celtics for many years, and Michael Holly. So why don't I take a look and see, over the last 25, 30 years or so, what were the years that the Bruins and the Celtics missed the playoffs completely? And there's a few of them. Right? So I figured what I'll do is I'll go back and forth between the two of you. I'll give you a group of 3 players, and you have to tell me what team that was, what year that was, that particular team missed the playoffs. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll have a little bit of Bruins music in the background, a little bit of Celtics music in the backgrounds.
You're going to do better than I am. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
I don't know that I am.
So we'll start with you, RJ. We'll give you Don Sweeney, Tim Sweeney, and Ted Donato. We're all on this particular. I'll even ballpark it for you a little bit. Late 90s Bruins team that missed the playoffs. What year was that with Don Sweeney, Tim Sweeney, and Ted Donato on the roster?
I'll go 97.
97's
Yes.
right.
That's it.
I think you're going to be better at this
I actually knew that one. You know why I knew that one? First of all, I don't remember Tim Sweeney.
I didn't even live here in 97.
I don't remember Tim Sweeney, but I think that was the year when Cam Neely was sat. They sat him in uniform in Toronto.
Right.
I think that was it.
That sounds right. 96, 97 season.
Oh my God!
Right.
It was Ted. It was not Ted. It was Cam Neely. Was it Kevin Stevens too? It was They sat him in uniform, and I just remember the look on Cam's face. He was pissed. He was like, "Okay."
You don't forget something like that.
Yeah. In Toronto, home of hockey. Anyway,
that was the year before.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Quick Google. That was January of 96.
Okay, all right.
Cam Neely and Kevin Stevens sat for the entirety.
All right,
nuts.
Michael Holly, you want let me give you a Celtics team that whiffed.
Okay.
Mark Blunt, Randy Brown, Rick Brunson. I mean, with a roster like that, how do you miss the playoffs?
Oh, wow. So I'm going to say that was 1999.
You're close, but off by a couple of years. That particular team was the 2001 edition of the Boston Celtics in the year that Rick Pitino was fired.
That was Pitino said, "See you later." Went to Miami and never came back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What?
That's what they took a road trip.
Yeah.
They went on a road trip.
Hard to imagine. Why was Pitino so salty with a roster like that?
And so they take this road trip they're in Miami. Paul Pierce checks out of the game. He kind of gives Pierce like this emotional hug, and then he left. That's it. In the middle of he just left. No press conference. There's still been no press conference. Mm-hmm. I'm leaving. He's done. Jim O'Brien takes over on a road trip.
No press conference.
He's got a place in Florida. He's like, I'll just stay here. Yeah. See you guys. Hey guys, see you later. I'm done.
You could get away with that back then. You can't get away with that these days.
I've heard of coaches being essentially left on the tarmac when the team flies home. I never heard one voluntarily.
So I'm out.
Like, guys, go ahead.
I'm out. See you later.
I'll see you guys later.
It's been real. See ya.
All right. RJ.
Yeah.
I liked this guy. I liked Brad Boyes. You know why? Because when I worked at WBCN, Brad Boyes was we would send Chris Rucker into the Bruins locker room because they would literally do anything to get you to talk about the team because it was so bad. Mm-hmm. And he would record the players hosting my show on WBCN. They would do guest DJ sets. And Brad Boyes was the one player who liked rock and roll and picked good songs. So he was on this particular Bruins roster that missed the playoffs along with Paul Mara and new Bruins head coach Marco Sturm. So what year were those three players on the roster that the Bruins missed the playoffs?
He just gave you a good hint.
All right, so Brad Boyes helps me because I called some of Brad Boyes' games in the minors. Yep. So I kind of get it. So we're talking
and Marco Sturm helps you too.
Mid-aughts, somewhere in that ballpark.
That's right.
You go 06?
07.
07.
Dave Lewis's first year as head coach.
Oh,
yeah. How'd you forget Dave Lewis?
Dave Lewis's first year as head coach or his last year as head coach? Because they were the same.
Dave Lewis, I've never seen so many 8 and 9 goal allowed games.
Yeah.
8, 9, 10. A ton of them. And he was coming from Detroit, right? He was supposed to. I was like, oh, this is the Detroit guy. That when that meant something. Hey, Red Wings coaching staff. He's been close enough to Scotty Bowman to get some of that magic.
Must have picked up something.
That was a disaster.
All right, Michael.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna give you.
I'm gonna bounce back. Here's a win.
This is a terrible, terrible year for the Boston Celtics. That featured, unfortunately, some good players in Dana Barros, D. Brown, and Antoine Walker were on this particular Celtics team that did very, very poorly.
Got
put it that way.
They won 15 games.
That's correct.
That's correct. They were 15 and 67.
Yes.
Ooh. They had multiple double-digit losing streaks. I think they had a 14, a 10, and maybe another one in the same season. I covered that team. That was the 1996-97 Boston Celtics.
We're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the experience.
15 games.
Imagine RJ writing game stories back when we used to write a full game story.
Right.
I'm like, can I just take the game story I wrote from last week.
Exactly. Change a couple of things.
We're in Detroit today. I'll change the score. Generally, it's the same spirit.
I had an American Hockey League season where our team won 19 out of 80. Oh. And we're basically eliminated from the playoffs by Thanksgiving. It was that, that's a good training.
But I'm going to tell you, here's a positive, 12.
Go ahead.
I saw Michael Jordan up close, Reggie Miller, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. Traveling around the country seeing some of the best players
absolutely
of the 90s. So
now see, if you were doing something similar now where you were following a 15-win team around the league, you wouldn't see any of those guys because they would all use that game because that's where you sit out,
that's an
right?
Excellent point.
Right.
It's
like that's where you
that's
rest.
True.
We're going to rest all of our starters and let the bench guys play because we can still beat this team.
Yeah, you would actually see them, but you would not see them in uniform.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, on the bench, styling.
You ready for another one, RJ? I'll give you each one more. All right. You know what I'm going to do, RJ? I'm going to give you a trio of goalies that split time on this particular team, and maybe by that you'll be able to tell me what year it was. Byron Defoe, Peter Skruda, and Andrew Raycroft all split time between the pipes on this particular Bruins team that missed the playoffs and fired their head coach 8 games into the season.
Oh, okay.
Fired the head coach 8 games into the season.
And you know who that head coach was?
Was that Pat Burns?
Pat Burns.
That's right.
Okay.
And I think I know who replaced him.
So Robbie Ftorek?
No, Mike Keenan, right?
Oh, that's right.
Wasn't it Keenan?
That's right. Who also didn't survive that season either, right?
Yeah.
So was that 01?
You're absolutely right. That was 2001, RJ. Well done. Well done. See, I told you would do better at this than you thought.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, there aren't that many seasons to choose
That's
from.
the thing, right? Like in
bad.
researching this, I was like, well, this is a good problem to have. It's not, but then of course you have that, that stretch for the Celtics in the late 90s. That was oof.
You know what, 12? I'm enjoying the game just from hearing these names.
Right.
Like Brad Boyd.
Walk down memory lane. Like who would have thought you'd have Brad Boyd's discussion?
I'm still trying to figure out. Should I know Tim Sweeney? Should I remember Tim Sweeney?
Probably no.
I don't. I just can't get it. Every other name, obviously Raycroft. I love Byron Defoe and The Mask and all this stuff. I can't remember Tim Sweeney.
Well, can you remember
Tim Sweeney out of Boston College played 291 NHL
It's a
games.
lot. Played enough.
77 of them in a Bruins uniform.
Okay.
All right, you want one more? I'm going to give you one
give it
more,
to me. Hit me.
Michael. All right. Here's some names that you remember. A.C. Earl, the Chief, and Ed Pinckney played on this.
Eddie Pinckney out of Villanova?
Oh,
played
yes.
on this.
Easy Ed.
This Chris Ford coached Celtics team that missed the playoffs.
So this must have been I'm going to say it was the 93-94 Celtics.
You are absolutely right, Michael Hawley.
Damn.
Well done.
Is
that Chiefs last year?
Yeah, I was going to say Chiefs last year here. Then he played for 20 more years.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't stop.
Yep.
He's like, listen, I'm gonna take advantage of this. I'll sit on the bench. I'll collect some checks. He got another ring or two. Played with Jordan. Was on the team with Jordan. Didn't play.
I was going to say those are two different statements.
Then I think he wound up. Didn't he wind up in Charlotte? Was he in Charlotte too?
2 years in Charlotte. Final year was in Chicago.
Yeah.
43 years old. Started 3 games that year.
Yeah,
Damn.
he started 3 games.
Started 3 games that year. He played in 43. Started 3.
Wow.
Averaged 3.7 points a game.
Not bad. A.C. Earl.
A.C. Earl.
A.C. Earl at one point had not a Garden, but Fleet Center.
Yeah.
Had a Fleet Center record. I think he came in with the Raptors and dropped like 40-something points on the Celtics. I can't believe they drafted him.
That was the begin. So that 93-94 team was the beginning of a stretch where from that season through the 2000-2001 season, the Celtics only made the playoffs 1 year. It was the 1994-95. They missed every single other year.
And that was the last
90s
year.
Stretch was tough time to be a Celtics fan.
That 94-95 that was the last year of the old Boston Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So they went in and they made the playoffs. They were the last team in, and they lost to the Shaq and Penny Orlando Magic. Like, got run over by it.
Well, congratulations, gentlemen. You did very well.
That's pretty good.
Very well.
Went better than expected.
Thank you for that trip.
And we got to remember some guys, and everyone loves to remember some guys.
All right. We are going to talk to Hardy about this Fred versus the golf cart race that's going on out at the Hoosier Caddy Classic. We will do that coming up next. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for the guys here on Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, good morning.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. Hi.
You sound excited to be there.
How about the intro? Yeah. What's up?
Well, I've had two things thrown at me already, and I just got here. Came in hot. Yeah, we're on right now. Wags, come over here. Yeah. All right. So Chris Wagner is on my team here this morning. He informed me yesterday that he and another guy on our team have had a combined 4 hours sleep between the two of them over the last 2 nights. This does not sound or feel like somebody who's taking this seriously. So I'm already worried.
Is this Chris Wagner, the hockey player?
Yes. Back from Colorado, and not taking golf seriously, which some would say is what you're supposed to do, but it's disappointing for me.
It's odd that a hockey player would be running that kind of a schedule where he's been up pretty much all night for 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, I know. It's so unlike these guys. Also, so unlike them to be playing golf immediately after their season ends. But yeah, that's what he's doing.
Or Hardy, you could say he's taking it so seriously that he can't sleep. He says, "I'll sleep when I die. This is the most important thing in my life right now, and I'm so wired. And
yeah,
I'm just forget about sleep. I'm gonna focus on dominating this golf tournament today."
He might be wired, but in a different sense of the word. I don't know. But I'm also nervous because Rick had asked me, our program director, Rick Radzik, to get here early to make sure that the putting contest was fair for the grill that we're giving away. Oh boy, you got to make sure that putt isn't too hard, isn't too easy. Oh man, I don't know if it should be a double breaker or not.
Did you bring your stemp meter, Hardy? Are we figuring out? Like, are they rolling okay?
I don't know. I'm like, it's a putting contest. They'll figure it out. It'll be fine. But there's a lot of nervousness. Already this morning.
How do you feel? You got boots on the ground here. Give us a little preview. How do you feel about Fred Toucher and his physical and mental condition for this epic race he's going to have against the golf cart?
Okay. All right. So we've all seen a golf cart move and how fast they move. Fred thinks he can beat a golf cart in a 40-yard dash. Okay. I'm going to take a quick poll here. Do you think Fred can beat a golf cart in a 40-yard dash?
Okay.
Absolutely not.
So
Okay,
this
see?
is so. What just to set this up?
Hold on. There's one. There's another golfer here. Do you think Fred can beat a golf cart in a 40-yard dash? I'm going to go with no. So, and Fred is so convinced that he can do it, which should indicate to everybody that he's not going to.
So this is something that Fred just out of the blue decided that he could do. Like he just, put out there into the ether that he's faster than a golf cart.
Yeah, I don't know how what the genesis of the conversation was, but he's like, I could beat a golf cart. I'm like, there's no way, dude. I mean, I'm sure some people could, but you cannot. No, there's no chance. So
just real quick, because Michael and I were discussing this very early this morning.
Yeah.
So different golf carts go at different speeds. I play it, at some golf courses where you step on the gas, that thing takes off like it's 0 to 20 in 2.5 seconds. There are others where you hit the gas and it takes it a bit before it kind of gets up to speed. Have you tested out the golf carts?
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how slow the cart is or how lacking in power the golf cart is. If this golf cart is strong enough to pull a greasy string out of a cat's ass, it's going to beat Fred Toucher in a 40-yard dash. That I can tell you.
Well, this is what I want to know. What athletic thing or semi-athletic thing have you seen Fred Toucher do in all the years that you've known him? What have you played ball with him? Like what have you seen him do?
Oh no. Fred, can hit a golf ball and he can throw and he can throw.
Have you seen him run before?
Hey, I was going to say, have you seen him run?
No.
You've never seen him run?
No. Never
he might
seen
have
him
wheels.
Run. Maybe he'll okay, Michael. Maybe he'll shock the world. I don't know what you're trying to do, but why don't you just get on board? He's not going to win.
Fred's, he's not as big as he used to be, up top, but he always kind of had those thin runner's legs, right? He's, I believe he said he's like kind of a potato on top of a couple of toothpicks.
Yeah, when you talk about the great Olympic sprinters in history, Carl Lewis, Ben Johnson, you're like, yeah, they've got those spindly bird legs. Yeah, that's the common theme.
Well, you don't necessarily need to be an Olympian to compete with the what have we settled on? 12 miles per hour.
So Usain Bolt can probably outrun a golf cart.
Yeah, you can.
I'm sorry. Our general sales manager is pointing into the parking lot, yelling at me through his window, obviously not listening to the radio station. Well done. Thanks, Brian. Good to see you too, buddy. Just live on the radio. No big whoop. Okay. All right. That's it.
When is this competition taking place?
Like in 10 minutes, because it's an 8 o'clock shotgun, and we're gonna do it before we play. So
is Fred there yet? Is he stretching out? Is he no?
I don't think the Uber has arrived yet. No, I haven't seen him.
I want some action on this. I hope are there bets? Are there?
I'll make you a bet right now, and I'm so confident I'll give you 5-1 odds.
Okay. You got 5 to 1. Okay. All right, good.
So
all right, and you text me the amount you want to do, but let's keep it friendly because I don't want to take too much of your money.
Okay. So does Fred have anything riding on this other than the public humiliation of Nick putting a video online of him losing to the golf cart?
I'm 90% sure he forgot he was doing it. So no, there is nothing riding on it for Fred. There is very little in the way of thought given to it by Fred. It's not a consideration or a point of emphasis for Fred. He doesn't care. That's kind of his thing, isn't it? He doesn't care.
Not only, Hardy, do I have Fred winning, I have like the final stretch of Fred kind of doing like an old school Deion Sanders high step at the end just to celebrate with like the final steps. He's so comfortably ahead that he's going to do something.
I can't wait
to celebrate it.
I can't wait to see the amount. When we get done, you text it to me. Or text it to me right now.
No. I'm going to text you after. I'll text you after the race happens. After it happens. Come on. Like there's some trust here, Hardy. I'm not going to, I'll pay, I'll pay up, but we'll keep it respectful.
All right. Keep it friendly, but it's so that's going to go down, and then we got an 8 o'clock shotgun. So it's all happening here. People are finally arriving.
Who are you playing with? You said Wags. Who else is in your foursome today?
Wags' buddy from Dorchester, Tommy Crabcakes, and my buddy Steve from Travis Matthews. So this is the team we assembled a couple of years ago. We had to take a year off last year, but we got the band back together. #RunItBack.
Have you ever can you compete in this thing? Are you
No.
Okay.
No. There's it's not a sandbagging team because there's no handicaps involved, but there's one team that has shown up consistently and posted like 16 under, 17 under. So they will win it again this year. I'm quite certain. But we're all, the rest of us, we're all playing for second place.
Every time you play in a tournament, there's always at least one team like that, and I just assume that they're full of it.
No. I mean, I don't know these guys, but you can kind of look at somebody and tell whether or not they're the type that would go out there and just. I mean, to cheat in a golf scramble, you either have to give yourself extra putts or just write down a false score, and either one of them are just so out of the realm of believability. And these guys, I don't believe they would do it just by looking at them and talking to them. So no, and look, there's one short par 5 out here that's got Eagle written all over it for, good teams that have, like at least one long hitter on it. So, if you got a hole or two that you can make Eagle on, 16 under is possible in these things. Not for our team, but for these other guys with 4 good golfers on it, they can do it.
Hardy, the last time, I know you've played every course in New England, probably multiple times. The last time you played this course, how'd you do?
Michael, you know what? Look it up on my score record on the GIN app, the Golf Handicap Index network, and you can see for yourself. It's not great. I'm not good. I'm my own worst enemy. What's up, CJ? So I don't know. Probably Oh, you know what? I did play here. They were the first course to open around here around me, and a buddy and I got out for 9 2 days in a row. I don't know. I probably shot what I always shoot, like 42, 43. That's it. Something like that.
That's not good. RJ, he says that's not good.
Depends. I've never played the course, so I can't tell you.
But wait a minute. What are you bringing to the table? If you're kind of shrugging at an 85, like, oh yeah,
it's not an 85, Michael.
Oh,
it's 42 or 43 on 9. Like, because like you get to 16, 17, 18, you're kind of weary from playing all day. Score 10, suddenly you make a triple bogey. The score blows up. That 42 on the front 9 turns into a 90, 95.
Oh, okay.
Just for that, I'm going to have a strong finish today. I want to be the closer, just because of you and your crap talking just now, RJ. Because I'm the opposite. I turn it on at the end. That's my goal.
Yeah, he's pretty dismissive, right there. You picked that up?
Dismissive. Oh boy. Oh boy. There's the grill. I got to get this putt set up. Oh boy.
All right, we'll let you go, Hardy, because I know it's very, very busy. You've got a putting contest to run. You've got Fred challenging a golf cart. I mean, there's all kind, and then you've got to play golf after all that.
Very
distracting.
There's a lot going on, and I was just informed by one of my teammates that Tommy Crab Cakes is a Quincy guy, not Dorchester. Oh my God!
Oh, you got to get that right. Oh, wait a minute. Come on, you can't make that mistake.
Holy crap! Now I've screwed up the team chemistry, and we haven't even teed off yet. Okay.
Well, we will let you go. Appreciate you checking in. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's been a little while.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, RJ. Michael, thanks for being there. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Anytime. All right, Hardy.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
There's Rob Hardypool getting ready to tee off at 8 o'clock. But first,
same train line. Quincy, Dorchester, red line. Okay, red line. Come on, we're close. A couple of stops away.
Those towns don't like to like to intermingle too much.
That's right.
All right, we've got some other things to get to here. We coming up at 8 o'clock today. We have a survey that was done of fans around the NHL to determine the most obnoxious fan base in the league. So we're going to tell you about that. We can also take nominations for the worst fans across all sports.
All sports. We've got some. Yeah, there's some fan bases that come to mind, right?
So we're going to get to that coming up after 8 o'clock. Brian Robb's going to join us to talk some NBA finals and Celtics offseason coming up at 8:25 this morning. Billy Jaffe's going to talk Stanley Cup final and Bruins offseason with us at 9 o'clock this morning. So we still got a lot to get to. 617-779-0985 if you would like to jump in with us as well. It's Ryan Johnston and Michael Holly with you in for Toucher and Hardy.
Sports Hub headlines presented.
that could pay him as much as $19 million, but is really worth 10-ish to start. I think 10 guaranteed.
Guaranteed, yeah.
Guaranteed. He's got $10 million extra dollars in that bank account. That'll buy a lot of ayahuasca.
But it will, and it's probably, if he shows up and just does decently, he's probably gonna make that $19 million.
Couple of things about this. To me, listen, Aaron Rodgers is what he is at this point in his career. We saw it with the Jets. Didn't exactly go according to plan in New York. But he still has something maybe left in the tank. But Pittsburgh had next to zero options at quarterback. Like, their quarterback room was pretty barren.
By their own choosing.
By their own hand.
Yeah.
The other option that was out there maybe is like, you trade for Kirk Cousins. Like, is that
better? No.
Move the needle in Pittsburgh? Is that really going to, So I understand why the Steelers bring in Aaron Rodgers, because what else are you going to do? But would you be at all concerned if you were a Steelers higher up or a Steelers fan when your starting quarterback, Hall of Fame caliber starting quarterback, doesn't want to sign his contract until after those pesky OTAs are over? It's like, all right, yeah, I'll sign it in time to show up for mandatory minicamp, but I can't be bothered with 6 more days of work in OTAs. Like, that's beneath me.
RJ, I think somebody did the official count of when Aaron Rodgers first visited the Steelers facility, when he first visited and when he signed. I think it was 70 days.
70 days.
70 days.
Gotta think about it real hard.
He visits, spends time, a whole day there with Omar Khan, the general manager, Mike Tomlin, obviously the head coach. And he has lunch there. I don't know if he had some pierogies there in Pittsburgh or went to Permane Brothers where they have those huge sandwiches. Sloppy sandwiches, and then it took him 70 days to decide that he was going to officially be a member of the Steelers. But I think about it this way. I do something with Pro Football Talk. I do the show every Friday. Mm. So there was a segment on Friday that we had planned that we never got to, and it was compare where Aaron Rodgers was to where he is now and what's better. So, in other words, he's with the Jets last year. Who's got the better group of skill players, the Jets or the Steelers? And I was thinking, I think the Jets. You got Breece Hall at running back. You got Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. Would you rather have Garrett Wilson or DK Metcalf? Would you rather have Breece Hall or Jalen Warren or Caleb Johnson, who they drafted out of Iowa? I think I'll take the Jets combination. Who's got the better offensive line, the Steelers or the Jets? I think the Jets.
Well, so Justin Fields apparently thinks that too.
Right.
Because, so Adam Schefter the other day said that Aaron Rodgers was actually the Steelers' third choice as to who was going to be their quarterback for this year. They wanted Justin Fields back, and he chose the Jets over the Steelers. They apparently reached out to the Rams trying to get Matthew Stafford. That didn't work out.
Understandable.
And so Aaron Rodgers was their third option. It was their plan C.
Okay, and that's the other thing. And I said to you before the show started, I'm just shocked that the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe I've just overrated the Steelers and just how they do business. I just never thought they would get caught up in the Aaron Rodgers circus. I thought they would have a better plan, a better post-Ben Roethlisberger plan. Now, that's pretty rich for us to talk about a team having a poor, iconic player plan at the quarterback spot when it's the Patriots who let Tom Brady just walk out the door. Crazy. Tom, you want $25 million? No, we can offer you 18, 19. We're going to start counting our dimes and nickels when it comes to Tom Brady. That was foolish. We know that. But the Steelers, since Ben Roethlisberger left, They've had Mason Rudolph. They've had
who's still there.
He second time around,
Yep.
Mason Rudolph. They've had Kenny Pickett. Last year, and this is just unforgivable, you have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in your building. Both of these guys are going to be free agents. You would think, okay, we got to sign one of them. And the one guy you sign is a younger guy. You signed Justin Fields. Why didn't you sign Justin Fields? So he signs.
Justin Fields, let me ask you, is Justin Fields a better option than a year of Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I would say if you think that Justin Fields has been screwed up by the Chicago Bears, which a lot of quarterbacks can say, yeah,
okay,
I've been
fair.
scarred. I've been scarred by the Chicago Bears. And you bring him in, you're the Steelers, hey, we got a plan for him. We got a plan for him. We're not bringing him in to save the organization like the Bears did. They traded up to get him. Hey, here's our guy. You're going to be the franchise. You're going to be the first guy ever to throw for 4,000 yards in the season for the Bears. Shockingly, they've never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in their history. And so the Steelers could approach Fields and say, look, we've been around for a long time. Don't feel like you got to carry the organization on your shoulders. We're going to coach you. You're going to make the right plays. You're going to be a part. You're going to be a cog in the machine. And you're not even 25 years old. Good. Great. Why not? Aaron Rodgers at 41, who can still sling it sometimes, who can't move most of the time, and who is going to bring all kinds of chaos to your building and to your team. You know that's going to happen. That will happen. I think just overall, I would rather invest in Justin Fields than go with a year of Aaron Rodgers. You're going to do the same dance again next year.
Oh, yeah. This is and
here's where this is why it's worse for you. So I think Aaron Rodgers will get them. This is the Steelers, so they'll win somewhere 9, 10. They shouldn't. They'll win 9 or 10 games. Aaron Rodgers will retire, and they'll be looking at their quarterback options. So if you win 10 games, you're going to make the playoffs or be close to that position. You'll be drafting somewhere in the 20s.
You're not going to get your guy.
And you're not going to get the quarter. There's so many good quarterbacks coming out in 2026. Well, you're not going to get the best 2 or 3 because those guys are going to be gone. So here we go. Here we are back on the quarterback carousel.
So you think they should have just tanked?
I think they should have signed Justin Fields, but they should have signed.
I think you and I have different opinions of Justin Fields' abilities.
And I'm not saying he's great. I think he will be pretty good with the Jets because they have the right approach with him. And I thought the Steelers had the right approach with him. He played 6 games for them last year,
right?
And they won some games.
He went 4-2.
They won some games with him. Now he is this is a crazy thing, RJ. I watched every college game of his. Okay, now the biases are coming up. I'm a Buckeye. So,
really?
Yeah. So I watched every college game that Justin Fields played. And he has become the opposite quarterback, what I thought he would become. I thought he would get to the pros and that he would be fine as a passer, but running, not so much. And it's just the opposite. He's a big guy. He's a tremendous runner, and the passing is crazy. It's just sometimes it's what are you thinking? What are you seeing? Why'd you throw that? Why are you holding that? Just why'd you make that decision? In college, he wasn't like that, but probably helped that in college most of the time. Like most college quarterbacks, you're throwing passes, especially with these big schools. Most of the time, it's pitch and catch. You're not throwing in the tight windows, so it all looks good. It all looks pretty when you've got elite receivers and backs, and you're just throwing in the space, and the skilled players are doing the rest.
I remember it was the semifinal game. Justin Fields, playing in the college football playoff, he went crazy that day. 6 touchdown passes, and I remember texting somebody while watching that game and saying, some team is about to make a major mistake because they look at this guy.
And you said nobody's on him. everybody's wide open.
Right.
All you got to do is just throw the ball in the area.
Like I could have thrown some of
and his receivers. We saw the same thing here with the Patriots with Mac Jones. Mac Jones looked great in college.
Right.
But now he's throwing to Jalen Waddle. He's throwing to Devontae Smith. He's got Najee Harris in the backfield. He's got first-rounders on the offensive line, not to mention the defense. So everything just looks great. But then when you have to when you take away the all-star team and now you got to elevate your teammates, that's a different story.
All right. It's Ryan Johnson, Michael Holley in for the guys today here on Toucher and Hardy. Coming up next, the most obnoxious fans in the National Hockey Leagues. They've done a survey, and you're not going to believe who's at the top of the list.
No, you won't, or maybe you will.
And why? We will get to that next here on a Monday morning, 617-779-0985.
Toucher and
tonight. They open up a 3-game set at Fenway against Tampa Bay. 7:10 first pitch. Brian Bayo will be on the mound. NBA Finals. Thunder with a 123-107 win over the Pacers last night. Tie the series at 1. Game 3 coming up on Wednesday night in Indiana. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight down in Florida. The Panthers and Oilers tied in at a game apiece in that series. Face off 8 o'clock. You can hear it here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots begin a 3-day mandatory minicamp today in Foxborough. Mike Vrabel will meet the media around 11:45, and then they hit the practice field at noon. 4-time Pro Bowl running back Nick Chubb reportedly set to sign with the Houston Texans today. Played just 10 games combined over his last 2 seasons with Cleveland. Carlos Alcaraz won his second straight men's French Open title in a 5.5-hour, 5-set victory over top seed Yannick Sinner. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Rodenheiser is offering $200 off any landscape lighting package so you can enjoy your outdoor space after sunset. Book a consultation now through June 30th at Rodenheiser.com. I'm Ryan Johnston on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. More headlines in around 30 minutes.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Half Toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
30 years? I'm going to say the most obnoxious, the Montreal Canadiens.
I would tend to agree.
Most obnoxious. I still can't believe they called the police. They actually did call the police.
They actually did.
Zdeno Chara.
Montreal Canadiens fan base comes in at number 6 on this list. Number 6.
I know it's hard to look in the mirror. I know, but I don't buy it.
The number 1 most obnoxious fan base, according to the fans from around the NHL, your Boston Bruins.
Oh.
You, listening to us right now, are part of the most obnoxious fan base in the National Hockey League. Now, I'll give you the top 10.
All right. Yeah,
For some reason,
you going 10-1?
For some reason, the Anaheim Ducks make it into the top 10.
I wouldn't know.
I
find it hard to believe. Okay.
I don't know. I don't even know how many fans they have.
Here's my question: where's this is from the Action Network?
Yes.
Based where? Somewhere in Canada.
I don't know.
Okay.
This
Canadian.
is.
I'm saying it's a Canadian network. Okay.
Well, this is the response of the fans.
Okay,
they
the fans,
polled the fans. This is what the fans told
And what
them.
was the polling process? How did they ask it? Were there leading questions? So many questions.
What's the margin of error?
Yeah, right.
You know. Number 9, the Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay.
With the pomp and circumstance and
I want to go to a game there. When I watch it, when I just see their whole presentation, they have taken it to the next level.
It really is. When we went, oftentimes going around the league this year for the first time, I didn't pay that much attention to like the pregame festivities because we're on the air doing our pregame show and all that. I took a moment to take in the Vegas presentation because it's a thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Vegas number 9. We got the Florida Panthers at number 8.
I can see it. Yep.
The Chicago Blackhawks are 7th. Montreal 6th. Top 5 are some cities that you would expect.
All right. New York is where?
So you got Detroit 5th.
Okay.
The Rangers 4th. The Flyers 3rd. And a solid pick at number 2, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their fans are insufferable.
Okay.
Montreal far too low on that list, though.
All right. So we've got Toronto and Montreal representing Canada.
Right.
But there's no Ottawa, no Edmonton,
right?
No Vancouver. This is what I'm saying. I think this poll is an
You think it's culturally biased against the United States?
It is This is a culturally biased poll, and I'm going to call it out. All right.
Okay.
So in all seriousness, with Boston,
yes,
I could see it. It seems dated. So back in the day, the gallery gods days of the old Boston Garden. Okay, yeah, I buy it. I just feel like I feel like your Bruins fans now, the in-arena experience, I'm not talking about people who just call in and say, hey, this team sucks, whatever. But if you go to the Garden, it is not necessarily, I think it's normal. I think it's just a normal fan base. It's younger than you think. It's a little more quiet than you think when things don't go well for the Bruins. And we know things didn't go well last year. I wouldn't say it was it's not a nasty crowd. It's not I just don't see it.
So I think you're right. I think there's a characterization of people from Boston in general and Boston fans in general. It's all like Murph and Sully, and they're just, they're there to drink beer and fight and, and create havoc. So I get what you're saying. However, I will push back at this.
Okay.
They broke it down in this survey of who each team's fans find the most obnoxious. All right? So here's the fan base. Here is the other fan base that they find the most obnoxious. Boston Bruins fans named number one on their list as the most obnoxious fans in the league.
Montreal.
The Boston Bruins.
Oh, so Bruins fans calling out Bruins fans.
21% of Bruins fans said that the Boston Bruins fan is the most obnoxious fan in the league.
Oh, that's good.
So there is a self-loathing capacity here that drove them to number one on the list because even their own fan base finds themselves insufferable.
Is this the only fan base that named itself as the most obnoxious?
It is not. However, it is the most fans.
But the percentage.
The highest percentage of its own fans that name themselves. So other cities that also find themselves obnoxious include Philadelphia, Detroit, Florida, Dallas, and L.A., as well as Anaheim. Those are the 7 fan bases who find themselves in their own surveys to be more obnoxious than other fans around the league.
This is a now I'm going to turn away from cultural bias to let's get into this. This is some Sigmund Freud. I mean, this is some
Bruins fans. Why do you hate yourselves?
Let's get into this. This is a beautiful case study. Let's get into the psychoanalysis of this. This is deep. Now we're not even talking about hockey anymore. Now you're talking about the way you view yourself in the world. This is a societal study now. Bruins fans hating Bruins fans. All right, so could it be like certain people just want it's never about the game. I guess all these fan bases, they just have to kind of disabuse themselves of, hey, I just want to focus on the game. I want to focus on the beauty of the game. That's not what fandom is. It's not going to be that. Nobody's just coming just for the game. Because if you just wanted the game itself and nothing else, well, why would you go to the game? You just watch it on TV and just take that in. You want the whole experience. So part of the experience is gloating a little bit. It's the East Coast. Come on. This is what we do.
Right?
Gloating a little bit when your team wins. And if your team doesn't do well, it's a little self-loathing. It's a little whiny.
Well, as you said, it's in the North. I mean, there's no questioning like the fact that Boston, Philly, and New York are all in the top 4.
Of course,
right? Yeah, of course they are.
And I would think the loathing in the self-loathing in LA is a little different. That's probably, hey, they're not real.
We don't care enough. These people around here don't care.
Or
enough.
It's like that. Remember that old commercial? Oh, are you really a sports fan? You know, like the whole sports fan back in I'm so much of a sports fan, you're just kind of one-upping somebody. There are hockey fans in LA who probably say, I'm in it for the right reasons. I'm here for the game. Oh, but I'm not like these celebrity fans who just became Kings fans when they got Wayne Gretzky.
Right.
And after Gretzky left, they weren't fans anymore. So I'm not like these people. So that's probably like a little back and a little tension of real hockey fans in LA and these fleeting hockey fans.
They also part of the survey they asked which NHL player has been the most annoying this season.
This season?
This season.
Where did it? No, it's probably in his prime. He would be there. Marchand would be in the top.
He's
5.
number 2.
He's still up there.
Still number 2.
Still
on the
doing
list.
it. Still annoying.
Brad
Good for you,
Marchand
Brad.
still annoying. Sidney Crosby 3rd.
Yep.
Matthew Tkachuk 4th.
These are all good ones.
Brady Tkachuk 5th.
I got no problems with
Tom
any of these.
Wilson.
Love it.
The number 1 on the list, it must have just been the exposure this year. Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin, the most annoying player in the league?
Yeah. Yeah, he's had, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, for a long time.
What's annoying about Ovechkin?
Everything. Everything. And I'd say this year, I understand why he's number 1 this year. And I need you, hockey guru, to tell me that I just got it all wrong. I have a real problem with Alex Ovechkin being the all-time goals leader. I don't respect it. There's no way. There's no way. I know he did it, but it's like, come on. Ovechkin, that's your thing. The fact that you were able to wipe out Wayne Gretzky, I think I'm bitter about that. That Wayne Gretzky, great offensive genius player, goal scorer, assist man, everything. What was that stat? I love the stat. If you just count as assist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, you're still way up there. So I just don't like that Ovechkin, I have to recognize Ovechkin as my all-time goal-scoring leader. So that's why I'm
why you're better.
This year.
See, I mean,
I think he is. I don't like, even if it's a great dimension, and in a lot of sports, I just don't like gross one-dimensional players. I think he's so one-dimensional that it's a turnoff.
Yeah, the Gretzky stat, by the way, is if you take away all of his goals, he still has more points than anybody else in the league. If you just count the assists, he has more assists than any other player had points in the history of the league.
And it's legit too.
And it's legit. He's 42 ahead of Jaromir Jagr in points if you just counted the assists and took away the 894 goals. I mean, that's complete and utter dominance, which is why nobody will ever, nobody's ever touching that record.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think it's a good thing for the Boston Bruins to have this reputation of having an annoying fan base, the most annoying fan base? I think it is.
I don't think it's.
It's
I
good.
don't think
That's
it's
a
a
little
bad thing.
distinction.
I would imagine that makes it, people don't like to play here all
Right.
that much.
Yeah. Even if it's a little bit overrated, you don't want people to. You don't want the opposing team or fans to feel that comfortable.
So I asked you about like the most annoying fan base in the NHL, and you put out Montreal, which
Right.
I would agree that to me goes at the top of the list. Your most annoying fan base in all of sports.
In all of sports. Ooh, that's a good one.
What fan base gets you more than anything else? Like you roll your eyes,
New
shake
York.
your head.
Yeah, in New York, I would say in a lot of sports. So the Knicks, we just had the Knicks in the NBA. Ryan, you realize they made the conference finals. It's just like the Celtics.
They started naming streets after people.
Yeah. They make the conference. They didn't win the conference.
Right.
They make the conference finals for the first time in 25 years, and they start naming streets around New York City after everybody on the team. Everybody. And I wonder if they named a street after their head coach who they fired. Tom Thibodeau. So he makes it like, oh, we're so excited. We made the conference finals. And they get all excited about that, and they move on. I don't like how every broadcast would start. Every Knicks broadcast. Okay, let's go over the stars here. We have to see Ben Stiller again. We have to see Spike Lee.
Oh yeah.
We got to see all the here's got Clyde Frazier. They haven't won a championship. Most of you listening right now, they have not won a championship in your lifetime. But they carry themselves like they are one of the great franchises in the NBA. No, you're not.
Well, this is part of the reason why the Rangers probably end up, because the Rangers do that same thing. So you go to a Ranger game at Madison Square Garden, and they have to go like Celebrity Row, like who's in the crowd tonight. Right. And it's basically the same three people. It's like Tim Robbins, the guy who played Bobby Bacala on The Sopranos. Like, it's just, it's like the same people there every night.
And they make you feel like, oh, you should be happy to be here.
Right.
This is the only place you want to be. Well, I guess. But when it comes to winning titles, but there's, I would say, for the most part, is a delusional fan base. Like Jets fans, they talk more-ish than anybody else.
I don't know. I think like a lot of Jets fans that I've known understand their plight. They understand as a Jets fan that there is just disaster lurking around every corner. They're never going to win.
Now they do. They had of course, every Jets fan can go back to the glory days. I'm not talking about Joe Namath. The glory days of Rex Ryan, where they made, does this sound familiar here? They made the conference championship game. Did they win it? No. But they made it in back-to-back years. So that's the glory days, just getting to the conference final. So they did that with Rex. They did that with Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick as the assistant. And they look at that and like, hey, see, we used to be at the top, but you never made it to the top.
Here's who's on the top of my list across worst sports fan bases. It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, that's
it's
a good one.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
You
know why?
That's that whole thing, too.
There's so many Dallas Cowboys fans who have no connection to Dallas, no connection to Texas. It's just the whole America's team BS, and they're insufferable. They're insufferable people. That's my pick.
No, that's a great one, and it goes along with what have you actually won?
Right.
Like they haven't been. I think that stat is they haven't been to a conference championship game since the mid-'90s.
Yeah. The Bill is, somebody just tweeted me, the Bills Mafia that's getting pretty high up on the list here too in recent years.
But I'm gonna excuse the Bills Mafia for this. They are charitable. Like if something goes wrong, if there's an issue in the league, they step up. So I'll give them credit. They'll raise money for legitimate causes.
Oh, sure.
So I like that about them. It's not just like, hey, Bills Mafia. They actually do something too.
The jumping through the tables thing.
It's Buffalo. Man, come on. What would you do if you lived in Buffalo? What would you do?
Not jump through tables?
You're not going to watch a hockey team. You don't have a hockey team to watch.
Been a long time to get to the playoffs.
You don't have a basketball team to watch. You don't have a baseball team to watch. Go ahead and jump through that damn table.
Bob Beers and I had a couple of conversations during intermissions in Buffalo this year about all the players who have been through there that have gone on to win Stanley Cups elsewhere. Oh, what a list.
What is their streak? What is their
This was their 15th straight year missing the playoffs, I think it was.
So they've got the longest. Is that the longest streak in professional sports then? Longest
I believe
drought
so, yeah.
Of not making the playoffs. And I know the Jets haven't made it in like 12 or 13 years or something like that.
Yeah.
15 years. And didn't they?
Yeah, 2011 was their last playoff appearance. 2011.
So the streak was so bad, they fire the coach, they go through other coaches, and they bring the coach back.
Oh, they've been, yeah, the last coach that got them to the playoffs is their coach now.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta take a break. Brian Robb's going to join us. We'll talk a little NBA Finals with him, some Celtics offseason, who might be going where, and the whole bit. So we'll get to that coming up next. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for the guys today here on Toucher and Hardy.
Stay tuned.
Finals are going on. Game 2 last night. Oklahoma City looking much more impressive.
Ferocious.
Hanging on, but building a lead and then hanging on to it. How novel against the Indiana Pacers. And we also have some Celtics offseason to talk about because everybody's waiting to see who's getting torn down and how big is the tear down here. And help us figure that out. We welcome in Brian Robbs, Celtics reporter for MassLive.com, contributor, of course, here at 98.5 The Sports Hub for many years as well. What's up, B-Rob?
What's going on, boys?
What are your thoughts on the finals so far? And is Indiana, did they use all of their ammunition in game 1?
Yeah, they got their one miraculous comeback in. They get win a series now at this point, it seems like. So it's good for them to get that out of the way. I honestly thought, guys, the Thunder, I was kind of stunned that the Thunder, they changed their starting lineup going into game 1 and went, and didn't really play. They've been playing double bigs all year, really didn't play any of it, and even took Holmgren and Hartenstein out of the lineup at points during crunch time of game 1. And so I think they corrected that in game 2. Both of those guys saw bigger minutes, and the Pacers obviously came back to earth a little bit. So it's fun that we got a competitive game here. I've been taught not to count out these Pacers at this point just based on Halliburton's postseason run, but ultimately the Thunder are the superior team here. They've led now for 94 minutes of the series through 2 games. So barring a Celtics-like collapse that we saw in the second round and another game in this series, I think you feel pretty good about the Thunder's chances at this point.
B-Rob, I asked this question a couple of days ago. I want to get your take on it. If you are a Celtics fan, which result makes you feel better about where you're going forward? Is it Indiana winning? Hey, Pacers won the championship. I guess this rebuild or this retooling won't be as painful as I thought. Or is it OKC winning and you're like, okay, yeah, they are a super team, but not in my conference. Don't have to worry about it. What makes you feel better? Which championship team would you feel better about?
Yeah, I love that question, Mike. Honestly, I think you feel better if the Pacers win, just because the Thunder aren't going anywhere for a while. And so if they're still coming up short now, if this is the beginning of 2 or 3 for the Thunder, then that's a pretty tall mountain for the Celtics to climb once Tatum gets back. But if the Pacers win now, then it's everything's on the table. I feel like going forward, anyone can win on any given year in this new NBA under this new CBA. And so I think that bodes well for the Celtics because inevitably the East is not even close to the Western Conference in terms of, talent up, through the playoff picture. And that's certainly a place where it's going to be easier for the Celtics to get back because you're not going to be scared of the Pacers. You're this is their core. They're not adding anything to this. And it's a good scrappy team, but it's one that ultimately the Celtics should be able to beat if Brad Stevens, pushes the right buttons in the next year or two.
Now, look, I agree with you, and I can't lie and say I came into this postseason envious of the Pacers. And then out of Mather, I mean, you look at some of the guys, and you say, well, that guy's not really special, but Rick Carlisle is able to reach deep into the bag. And whether it's 8 minutes here or 22 minutes from a player who is not necessarily a star, he is able to salvage something. And I think the Celtics, if Jason Tatum is out most of next year or all of next year, that's really got to be something that they have in their repertoire to even have a decent season.
Without a doubt. You look at Neesmith, look at Obi Toppin. These are guys that are, they weren't totally cast-offs, but they were guys that their teams were happy to get rid of for upgrades elsewhere. And they have found the guys, to your point, Mike, that just fit their system well on offense. And they play a really enjoyable type of offense where everyone's moving, everyone's involved. It's unpredictable. It's not, 50 or 60 threes a night, and anyone can hurt you, as we saw in game 1 there. So, yeah, I think going into this offseason, the Celtics, as they have whatever we want to call this year, a bridge year, gap year, whatever it's going to be, finding guys like this and the deals that are inevitably coming is going to be big because you're going to have to find good balance around Jason Tatum and certainly Jaylen Brown. Whoever's left here going forward, finding guys like the Pacers have, 1 through 8, 1 through 9, is going to be a big part of the Celtics getting back up to the top of the Eastern Conference, I feel like, in a year or two under this new CBA, where it's going to just be tougher to find and add those type of guys when you're paying out, one or two Supermax contracts to your best players.
All right, so you mentioned the inevitable deals that are coming here. Drew Holiday, you wrote about, here today about, what the prospects are for him. Porzingis obviously would be another guy. Do you think about Brown? Do you think about White? Do you anticipate anything maybe that we're not focusing on? Because everybody understands, okay, Holiday's gone. Porzingis has got to be gone, right? I mean, but will they – is there an appetite, or would there be a deal out there if they wanted to go big as far as moving one of the bigger pieces on the roster?
Yeah, I think it all depends on the market that's out there for guys like Drew and Porzingis. I think the default option is those guys because they're older, or their contracts are expiring, so they don't necessarily, in Drew's case, doesn't necessarily fit the timeline with Tatum as we get later in this decade. And Porzingis, he's obviously been a big part of their, the last 2 years, but how reliable is he? Is he going to, do you want to pay his next contract? What is that going to cost? And so those are easier pieces to move now. If the market isn't there for those guys, and the other question is what this new ownership that's coming in, what's the mandate? What's the spending? Are they okay being a tax team for the foreseeable future? And that is now they're a repeater tax team, so the price is quite high. They're not going to pay full freight of the $500 million that they're projected to right now, but are they okay paying $300 million and staying over the tax a little bit for even a year like this when Tatum is out? That is, I think, certainly going to inform Brad Stevens' decision to a degree. We're not going to know that until we see some of these moves, but inevitably, if they need to cut money and the market for Porzingis and Drew Holiday is not as good as people might think it is, then I think options okay, what type of haul can we get for Jaylen Brown? What type of haul can we get for Derek White? You don't want to trade those guys, but those would be avenues you have to explore on the front, just in case you get bowled over, or in case you can kind of reload and fit into the payroll even better if the goal is to maybe even do something bigger, like getting under the taxes here. Then that involves cutting $50 million of this payroll, and then that is when you could see some even more drastic things than trading a Drew Holiday or trading Porzingis.
So given that everybody in the league kind of understands the situation that the Celtics are in, if you're Brad Stevens, what are you reasonably hoping to get in return other than cap space for either one of those guys?
Yeah, it's with Drew Holiday, I think you want to get back. I mean, ideally, I think when they sign those deals, they just hope, Ryan, they were going to be positive value deals in a sense. You're not getting anything up to get off them for Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is paid well. He's obviously been a proven playoff player for a while. He's could help a ton of teams around the league right now. The question is okay, is he worth paying 30? Is some team willing to take on, $34 million a year for the next 3 years to take him on? So ideally, you're getting a couple movable contracts back. I don't think you're going to get any draft capital back for him or Porzingis unless other stuff's involved. But just getting players that help, that maybe someone promising, but certainly helps you cut the payroll when you move them. And then inevitably, if you get, two guys making $13 million back for Drew Holiday, then if you want to cut more money from those are guys, it's easier to move smaller contracts in the NBA. So that could lead to another deal down the line or two. And then inevitably you get to where you want to go without having to touch the rest of your core. I think ideally that's what they want to do if they move those guys. But again, they're not going to want to take back another big contract, long-term contract, unless it's a guy they see as being part of their future. And it's hard to see the market for Drew Holiday or Porzingis being someone like that at this point.
Now, listen, I'll tell both of you, I'm not hoping for any result. When I say this, I'm not hoping for anything. But I read a story over the weekend about Celtics ownership and how Bill Chisholm needed to raise that last bit of money to make sure that everything was all secure, the $6.1 billion, and he needed to rally some people to get the numbers. he was able to get the numbers. So he was able to raise a cool $1 billion so quickly that I've never heard this term before, B-Rob. You tell me. I'm not a business person, but the term was now they are oversubscribed. The subject, meaning that we got more people who want in.
So many people offering us money, we can't take it.
We can't take. I'm sorry, your money's
it's like
no
when
good
they
here.
oversell an airplane and you can't get your seat.
We're overbooked. We're oversubscribed. Yeah. So if they're in that position, I just wonder: is there some kind of wild card coming? Is there from this group? Maybe this group is like, hey, we can sustain more than people think we can. And maybe the fire sale that you expect or the shedding that you expect is not necessarily going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. Do you see any scenario like that? Because I don't. I think that those guys are leaving, but maybe there's something I'm missing here.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. It's hard to envision that for just this upcoming season for them like maintaining a crazy payroll just with the situation of Tatum. Because it's kind of like, why would you do that this year? Now, would they do that a year from now when Tatum comes back and you're like, listen, we're ready to spend a ton. We're going to take a break. We're going to kind of take it back, walk it back this year when Tatum's getting healthy, and then we'll be able to spend crazy amounts again. I know they got, some guy, like one of India's wealthiest families, that's one of the new investors in here. That
Aditya Mittal.
So,
I was just reading.
Exactly. So if he's willing to spend that crazy money, then that's great news for Brad Stevens from a standpoint of that helps teams around the league being like, okay, maybe the Celtics don't have to cut as much money, maybe and obviously opens up doors in terms of getting creative with deals and being able to take back more money than we expect them to. But ultimately, this is a money question. I'm with you. I would be surprised if the payroll only goes down. They just barely get under the second apron this year, but still are paying tons of tax and the repeater tax because that is still that's still a record amount of money for them to be spending as a franchise. I think that would be the biggest bill they've paid so far, and it's hard to envision them doing that in a year like this when obviously their title prospects will be potentially dead on arrival if Tatum obviously is out for the year.
All right, Brian Robb, you can read his Celtics coverage at MassLive.com. B-Rob, appreciate it this morning.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, we will. We need to revisit the thing that happened last night in the Red Sox game.
Oversubscribed, Ryan.
Yes,
oversubscribed. That's where you want to be.
It's a good spot to be.
That's where we all want to be.
Just there's so much money coming in, we can't keep track of it all. That's an interesting way to put it. Oversubscribed. We will. We got to revisit what happened in the Red Sox game last night with Rafael Devers, Alex Cora. Very cryptic in his answers after the game as to why Devers didn't run out of ground balls. We will get to that coming up here on Toucher and Hardy. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holly in for the guys.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Wednesday night, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup.
a shot off the bat at Devers, 111 miles an hour, and another second-deck shot for the Red Sox.
I don't even want to ask him to play first base when they're in desperate need of a first baseman. Last night, though, was I don't know. I mean, I don't know how else to put it other than, like, Alex Cora seems to either be afraid to call out Rafael Devers, or like he doesn't care to do it, or whatever. But last night, Rafael Devers had a chance to try and beat out a ground ball and chose not to even try.
He started running like he was into it, and then halfway through,
just quit.
Just stop running.
Just quit. Jogged it out.
Start jogging.
He comes back to the dugout. If you didn't see this last night, he comes back to the dugout, and Cora clearly wants to know why you didn't run that ball out. Like he as Devers is walking past him, go down the dugout steps, just kind of says, like, hey, what happened there? And Devers doesn't even slow down, says something, and just keeps on walking. And Cora's eyes kind of go like, what are we doing?
What are
we doing? And he kind of watches as Devers just walks down the other end of the dugout. And so I was doing like the 2 TV thing last night. It's, so I happened to see that as I was watching the NBA game last night. I was like, what just happened there? Check the replays out. Like, all right, so he's dogging it going down to first. So Cora asks him, rolls his eyes, and then goes back to watching the game. So wanted to see what Cora would be asked about after the game, what he would say about it. This is a verse from Christopher Smith of Mass Live, Red Sox reporter. This is what he tweeted last night in the Q&A of Alex Cora after the game. Quote, or question, was that a lack of hustle or something else? Cora, it wasn't lack of hustle. Question, something going on with him physically? No, it wasn't lack of hustle. We'll leave it at that. I was like, well, wait a minute. Okay, so if it wasn't lack of hustle, you were just asked a question, was there something wrong physically? No. But it wasn't lack of hustle. So
what was it?
Well, wait. There's really only 2 reasons why you wouldn't run out that ground ball. One would be you don't care to. One would be you can't.
It's not a physical thing, but if I had run hard, it would have become a physical thing. I mean, like, right. I don't know what you say.
Maybe It's like Devers didn't give a dissertation on his way into the dugout, like, and stop and say, well, if I had run those last 10 steps at full speed, I might have pulled a hamstring, so I chose not to do that.
It was a very short conversation. It was no conversation. Maybe like a couple of words. It's not like Devers stopped. Cora said something to him, and Devers said something back and kept on going. And Cora didn't go up to him afterwards. There was no, hey, all right, let's go in the tunnel here and talk this out away from the cameras.
So the last question on this transcript, broadcast showed him grimacing. Does he have anything going on that would merit it? And I guess the other day he was kind of like futzing with his hip a little bit or something like that. And so is there anything going on that would, indicate like why he would be grimacing? And this is Cora. No, I mean, like, we talk about it, and if he needs a blow, he needs a blow. The next one, I told him to go hit it out of the ballpark and jog, and that's, he hit a home run later in the game. So was he just tired from running 45 feet at full speed, and he couldn't give you that second 45 feet?
All right, a couple of things on this. One, if you're Alex Cora, you said you don't know if Alex Cora is afraid to say something to Devers. What are you afraid of? Cora, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of you shouldn't be afraid of getting fired, because not to say he's not in danger of it, but if he does get fired, he's got $7 million a year.
Coming your way.
You're into a 3-year extension. You're one of the top paid managers in baseball. The checks won't bounce, so you're in good shape there. You apparently are in good standing in the organization. So you don't have to worry about that. Are you afraid of losing Devers so much? If you say anything to Devers, will you lose him for 2 weeks?
This is the same manager who wouldn't even ask him to potentially play first base.
You can ask. Are you afraid of the relationship souring by just because you ask a guy or you demand that he just run out a ground ball? I'm not saying it's the worst thing that I've ever seen on a baseball field, but it's something that you should do. The other thing is for Devers, I'm like, all right, Devers, how about, will it be better if we're going to give you a day? We're going to give you a day to just bitch about everything that has happened to you since the spring. I'll give it to you. All right, go ahead and say it. We were not honest with you, or we told you these things too late. You wanted to know in the offseason. You wanted to know in December, but you didn't find out until January or February, and you're mad about it, and we're hypocrites, and we suck. Okay, go ahead and say it. Get it out. You can have a day where the bosses suck. Is that going to make it better? Will that make you feel better? Can we get this out of the way? It's just one of those where you just need to go off. You need to vent. He started to vent, and he went at Breslow. Do you want to go at John Henry? Do you want to go at Alex Cora? Theo? Who do you want to get? Sam Kennedy? Anybody you want. I'll give you a day if you can just move past this. Because it seems like he's just pissed off still. And he's productive. At the plate, he's productive.
Right.
But then when these things come up, when he's not doing things exactly the way you would draw it up, it's like you're not allowed to say anything about it. It's weird. I can't say anything about this. So Cora, and Cora's that you said Cora, or you said earlier, RJ, that Cora has defended him. I would say it's been a poor defense. It's been a confusing defense where he doesn't come out and say, leave this guy alone. He's one of our best players, and he's doing everything I want him to do. And he's not saying Devers has got to be better. He knows better. It's somewhere in the middle, which keeps it going. It's just murky. He has not really been clear about how he feels about Devers.
So last night he says, it's nothing physical. But okay, so then what's your answer there? If it's not something, but then he's like, we've talked about it, and if he needs a blow, he needs a blow. It's like, okay, so is he tired? He's not playing in the field anymore. Is 4 at-bats a night getting to be too much for him? Can't run out a ground ball? At that point, it's not like the game's out of reach. You're in the 6th inning, and it's, you've put up a 5 spot. You have a chance to extend that inning if you beat that ball out and potentially put the game away right there in the 6th inning. So if you're the manager and your star player is pulling crap like that, and you're not making a big deal out of it in the dugout, you're not making a big deal out of it in the media. Did you even talk to him about it after the game? Like, is there any consequence to that at all? Because if not, again, the question keeps coming up here over and over with Alex Cora this year. What are you doing here? Why are we paying you $7 million a year if you don't actually do anything?
Right. And
because I could stand at the top of the step of the dugout and go, hey, why did you run that out? And he goes, F you. And I go, okay, I can do that.
Yeah. Don't ask. Leave me alone. And by the way, they win 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. Right. They're lucky. The Red Sox really are lucky. They've underperformed all season long. Alex Cora has been in these situations where you, as you say, you're wondering, what are you doing? Why haven't you handled this situation? Why haven't you come down harder on this? And yet they're only 8.5 back. I feel like they should be 20 games out.
It's the Bobs. Like, what is it that you would say that you do here? Like, what?
Yeah, right.
All right. We know what Billy Jaffe does. He's going to join us. We'll talk a little Stanley Cup final with him. We'll talk about the Marco Sturm hiring and more coming up next. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for Toucher and Hardy.
Fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Marchand, pass ahead. Wendell Marchand, a breakaway. Hudson Marchand, can he tie the series? And he scores! Brad Marchand in overtime, and the Panthers win game 2. 5-4. The series is tied at a game apiece.
NHL Network. He's been working the games for national radio and the Stanley Cup Final as part of his 47 jobs. Billy Jaffe joins us. What's up, Billy?
In this business, you're looking for a 48th job. The way it goes in this business, you never know. How you guys doing today?
Doing
Pretty
well.
good.
That Brad Marchand trade has worked out okay for Florida, I guess.
Oh my! Has it ever? He has impacted on and off the ice. His presence, his ability to handle pressure. He fits in perfectly with this team, and it has worked well. And you know what? It's worked well for the Bruins. You've added a draft capital to your amount in the next 5 first-rounders in the next 3 years, RJ?
Yeah.
It's worked. If he wasn't going to sign and you get the most for it, at least now it's got the first-round pick back.
Does this make you look at Marchand differently? Just how seamlessly he's fit in with Florida. Do you look at it in other words, Billy? Do you say, well, yeah, it just happens to be the perfect team. He's a third-line guy with Florida, and he couldn't be that here. Or do you say, wow, he's got a lot more in the tank than I thought he did when he played with the Bruins?
No, I think it. Look, this doesn't surprise me. You mentioned the third line along with 2 players that Bruins fans know well. I don't know if the average fan know the names of Anton Lundell and Eetu Luostarinen very well, but they're outstanding hockey players that are slotted perfectly. But, Michael, they didn't have the offensive gusto that they get by playing like now with Brad Marchand. He has pulled it out of them, I think, literally and figuratively, or I should say figuratively and then actually literally. He has challenged them to be more offensive at times, and the coach, Paul Maurice, and his staff have loved that. You make a point, it fits perfectly on this third line because of the matchups they get. Yet, he's also he's playing with some real, robust attitude out there, which is playoff time, though. This is when you bring it like this, you can't bring it like this all the time during an 82 regular game season because it's just not possible. But I think that he definitely has stuff left in the tank. There's no question about it. How much overall, who knows? He's obviously healthy now. Remember, he had those 3 surgeries that he had to deal with before that. That takes a while. He had a real good run at times this year for the Bruins, but this team was nowhere near as good as what the Florida Panthers are. So he's still got a lot left in the tank. I don't know how many years. I know he wants to play for a couple more, but he's got to get stuff left in the tank.
How much do you think it impacts him as he potentially goes to free agency at the end of this year if he doesn't end up staying in Florida, or if he does, how much has his playoff success impacted, do you think, what teams might be willing to offer him if he does, in fact, get to free agency?
I definitely think it has helped because I think there's going to be a couple of teams that are going to say, we are a Marchand away from being a really, really good team, but you have to go in with the expectation. You know that, again, over 82 games, this is really the same for any player, but especially a player who's over 35 or he's 37. You can't expect the regular season to be, you can't expect 80 points. You're talking 50, 60 points, and then you're saying we're getting him for leadership moments. We're getting him for, second power play. We're getting him for, helping guide young players, and then we're getting him for the playoffs. But RJ, absolutely think it sure as heck can't hurt, what he's doing, and you're seeing it. Now, you're seeing him, like, you're going on breakaways against some of the fastest players in the NHL, and I wouldn't call him the ultimate speed demon, but he's really smart. His anticipation is sublime. He's not cheating the zone, but he is reading the zone and reading the play. He had Leon Draisaitl coming right after him in overtime, and he was able to utilize his body to shield the puck, go to backhand, and get up by Stu Skinner. So he's still showing that he's got speed, and he's got that ability to do high level things at pressure times.
RJ and Billy, you know how it is when whatever your favorite sport is, when you come to that final round and the reality right around the corner of this is going to be over, you got to deal with that post-sport depression. It sucks when it's over. So I'm wondering, because I hope this is sustainable, but Billy, tell me if this is realistic. First 2 games, overtime. It's been great. The composition of this series, are we going to have 5 more games like this? Do you think we got Game 7 where these teams are this close and it's going to be this competitive throughout the rest of the series?
Michael, I'd love to. You're smarter than I am. What's a word better than great? Phenomenal? Does that? I mean, these first 2 games have been unfreaking believable to watch. And I have an RJ. You said, you brought up. I'm doing the national radio on Sports USA. That's on the hub. I'm doing it from behind the glass ringside. It is amazing to watch this. You realize how special these teams are, and how the rematch has absolutely fueled even more passion for than a regular Stanley Cup. Can they continue to bring it? I sure hope so, Michael. I do, because that is amazing stuff. And I think that I think that there are, because, Michael, on each team, you have players that are pushing that ultra uber star level. We know about Connor McDavid, and he is just glorious to watch. His edge work, his acceleration, his ability to protect the puck, et cetera. But then you've got Draisaitl and, Evan Bouchard this year. I wouldn't call him an uber star, but he's turned himself into a star player, the defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers. Just using those 3 players alone. And then you go to Florida and, you've got the Barkovs, who's been a little bit quieter offensively, and Reinhart too. I look for them to be a little more available or noticeable, perhaps. Reinhardt's name we called more in Game 2, so he could be on the verge of breaking out. But you've got these players and these teams that are so deep, and they seem to have this they seem to be willing, Michael, to trade punches, so to speak, okay? And because of that, they're not playing cautious. And that means that we get these games that are a little bit more open than we've seen, and the intensity is off the charts. Can they physically do it? I don't know. They've had 2 days to rest here. They're going to have 2 days to rest before Game 4. That's going to help. Let's see if mentally they can do it as well. But I sure hope so. From a broadcaster and fan perspective, Michael, it's phenomenal.
Ultimately, I guess my question going into the final, as it probably was last year too, is as talented as the Oilers are they talented enough in goal to win this series?
I think so. I do. My question more than anything, and no question, Stu Skinner, he doesn't look nearly as pretty or as athletic, because he's not, as a guy like Bobrovsky. But Bob's had 1 or 2 go through him that he might say, okay, I could do this better. But they've both been great at times in this series. Their defense in front of them, RJ, is so much better than it was in the previous year or 2. And so Skinner has to do it his way. I wonder, and, look, if Skinner has an awful game, and by the way, he's going into Florida, a place that wasn't kind to him last year, and so, does he have memories of that? I don't know. Let's see. He says he's mature. Let's see. I wonder, the big thing for me, Ryan, is can the Oilers replicate what they did in Game 1 physically over a 7-game series? Now, maybe they only have to, if you look at it and you break it down, say they only have to win 4, so they just have to do it 4 times. And they were they were the body contact initiators in Game 1 of the series. They put pucks into areas that were very reminiscent of what the Florida Panthers wanted to do. They took the Panthers game to them. I just wonder if they can do that well enough over 4 games to win over a 7-game series, that they can end up getting this one. But that's going to be their challenge.
Billy, I was talking with RJ earlier about Marco Sturm. He's going to give his press conference tomorrow. He's going to be in studio with Felger and Mavs tomorrow as well. If you had to just bottom line it and say what you want to hear Sturm say, what do you want to hear him communicate to the fans tomorrow, what would that be?
Well, and I'm going to be there. I'm heading back for the presser as well, and we're going to have some coverage on Nesson, so I'm looking forward to that. Michael, I want to hear, first of all, I know Marco, but I don't know him from a coaching perspective. He's got an amazing reputation for guys that have played with them, just about his personality and his demeanor. And I want to hear what he's looking to do with regard to systems and structure. I think he's going to be – I know he's a good communicator, if not a great communicator, which is what, new age coaching you need in all sports, but in the NHL. We're seeing coaches, and I think you guys know this, right? Coaches are barely lasting not even 3 years anymore. So, it's mind-boggling how that has changed over the years. So you've got to really get your message through quickly. To me, I just want to know that, I know Mark. I'm going to hear this. Marco Sturm is invested. He's a former Bruin, which I don't think, by the way, a little tangent here. To me, that was not the determining factor. I don't know if you, I think you guys would agree, but I won't assume. This was more about his ability to communicate with veteran players because he's been there, done that, and he's just old enough that is also to be able to communicate with younger guys because, again, he's been there, done that, but he's just young enough in his mid-40s that he can do that, and he's had recent experience with the German national team and the German World Juniors. So, I know he's invested. He's so proud to be doing this, and this is his first opportunity. And I think that I go there and I hear what he's looking to do system-wise, structure-wise, talk about that, but most of all, its ability, communicate to get the most out of the guys.
Billy, just kind of going into this offseason as a whole, as it starts to ramp up here very quickly over the next few weeks with the draft, with free agency, and all of that, how difficult a job is in front of Don Sweeney as he tries to rebuild and remake this roster on the fly?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a major challenge, but I think he knows that. I go back to the draft capital that they've accrued in the last couple of months with trade deadlines. And I think that acquisitions, I think that, Ryan, would you agree? It will not surprise me if one or two of the first-round picks that they've gotten over the trades are used in their trades to acquire players that can help them in the now.
I'd almost be surprised if they didn't.
Exactly. You cannot trade next year's number one pick, though, because the draft next year is very good, very deep. You got a couple of stud players, and you got some others. Now, I guess maybe therefore you could also take the other look at it and say, well, on the other hand, if you do trade that, you can get yourself back an even better player. I don't know. I think you hold on to it, just given the fact you don't know where your team is going to be just yet. But I think they're going to do that. It's going to be a challenge because, and I haven't broken down the numbers. I will when I get closer to like free agency or maybe to the draft. There's a lot of teams, Ryan, that have some money, just like the Bruins do, right? And the salary cap has gone up, and a lot of teams are working on some expiring contracts. And so there's going to be other teams out there that are going to be battling for a lot of the same players that you are. So that's a challenge. But that's what, management has said since day one of the minute after they made those three trades on trade deadline day a few months ago, that this is a retool, not a rebuild. And so they've got a plan, and I'm assuming they've got multiple plans, and they're probably going to be challenged to figure out a way to make it all work. But I think it's going to be a big challenge, but they're up for it.
I read Pluto the day that Marco Sturm was hired, and he had 5 points or 5 things that Sturm has to prioritize. And one of the things on the list, and I said out loud as I was reading, I was like, well, you don't necessarily need to prioritize this. Figure out the goalie situation with Swayman and Korpisalo. I said, figure it out. Swayman just has to play up to his contract. I mean, I think it's pretty simple there. Am I missing something here? Isn't it just get Jeremy Swayman to look like the guy the Bruins paid an awful lot of money to before last season?
Well, yeah, but yes. I mean, that would on the surface, that's exactly what you want. And you had Jonas Korpisalo at the end of the year in a very matter-of-fact way saying, he'd like to play more. I'm paraphrasing. And it was a him thing. It wasn't about other guys. So I wonder if that's what Fluto was referring to. But, yes, you start with getting your number one goaltender who should have an incredibly different summer, Michael, than he had last year. And especially mentally. I mean, between that and then just, the knowing that what he's going to do, staying in Boston, all that stuff, getting himself set to have a bounce back season would be the ultimate number one tonic that I think that would I guess cure or help at least the goaltending situation from last year. And then maybe you're just talking about getting both of them, so to speak, on either a schedule along with goalie Bob, and which Bob already has. That's not it. It's just like I'm guessing the Flute is talking about just the communication. I go back to that again between him and both goaltenders and everything, just being copacetic with them. But Swayman gets the world championship, gold medal there. That can't hurt with his confidence. It's a reset, all that stuff. It doesn't guarantee that his next season is going to be, ultra high level, but it sure can't hurt. Let's hope the biggest thing is going to be is he's going to take a little time off. He's going to get right back to training, and it's going to be, I know where I'm going to be. I'm not going to be having to think about what my contract's going to be. I'm not going to be doing interviews, that, weren't received always so great. And you're going to just get yourself ready to play goal for the Boston Bruins.
Billy, we'll let you go on that. Appreciate the time. Enjoying listening to you guys on the national broadcast here on the Sports Hub, and 8 o'clock face-off tonight.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it. It's a balmy 87 here at whatever time in the morning it is. So
what is what is it? You're in Florida obviously now. What is the June temperature like in Edmonton this time of year?
I'm going to tell you something, bud. The weather was phenomenal in Edmonton. It was the most, besides that and the arena environment, the most glorious part of being in Edmonton for that long. The weather was great. It was ultimate golf weather, high 70s, 80s, sunny until 11 o'clock at night. That was phenomenal. It gets cool, 50s at night. It's perfect in that regard, or it was.
I've made one visit to Edmonton,
and it was miserable.
It looked like I was in Antarctica. Like it was.
Oh, well,
yeah. I mean,
yeah. a little different in wintertime.
A little bit. Appreciate the time, Billy.
See you guys.
Thanks, Billy.
All right, there's Billy Jaffe, Nesson, NHL Network.
He's right, though. These games have
Sports
been
USA
wild.
Network.
These games have been wild. They've been great. And you saw, and Marchand, what Bruins fan didn't think when you saw how he won Game 2? Who didn't go back to the Florida series? Who didn't go?
Had to bring up the breakaway with the series on the line.
The breakaway, you can win the series right there. Oh.
Yeah. All right. We will continue here in the final hour of Toucher and Hardy. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holley in for the guys today. Ryan Johnston and Michael Holley in for Toucher and Hardy today. You have any emails you want to share?
Did I want to share? No, not really. Okay, I'm not opposed to emails, positive or negative. I just was flat-footed, was not prepared to share. But
neither one of us is.
I'll know next time.
Put our email addresses out there publicly to receive emails.
Right.
So.
Are your email addresses on the website? Is yours, RJ?
Doubtful. I don't know.
We always just tell people to go to 985thesportshub.com if they want to send emails. Although I don't think mine's on there either because I rarely get any, which I'm not complaining
Where does
about
one
at all.
find the email addresses on our website? Any idea?
I don't think we should be too specific about that.
Oh, I got
We
you.
should let them discover that for themselves.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
it's a beautiful journey.
I got you. I was able to find them fairly
Click around
quickly.
on a few pages.
Yeah.
That only helps us out, you know?
Toucher, Hardy, Wallach, Zolak, Bertrand, Felger.
So just the hosts.
Maz does not put his email address out there. They just have a Twitter account for him. Big Jim, Joe Murray.
Okay.
I did not make the cut. Much like the golf tournament, I did not make the cut for the email addresses on the website.
You're much more valuable here, much more important for you to be here. Running point.
Attaboy.
Today.
I appreciate it.
There it is.
They need somebody capable to fill in. They chose us.
They can't just leave this job to anybody.
Right.
Somebody's got to be able to do it.
Midday people working today? They're out at the tournament, but they're
broadcasting
They're
live,
doing the show out there. Right?
Yes, I talked to Beetle yesterday. I was asking him if he was golfing today. He said, no, I'm hosting the midday show. I said, do you prefer that over the golfing? And he said, yes.
Oh, by the way, how do we forget this? What's the verdict?
Have we heard
who won?
Have we heard what happened in the
Man
Fred versus the golf
man or machine?
We have been monitoring the social media feeds to see if there have been any videos uploaded. We have not seen that yet. Ryan is on it as well. We haven't seen anything specific. They're being very tight-lipped about the Fred versus the golf cart challenge that took place before everybody teed off at 8 o'clock.
So if you weren't with us when Hardy called in earlier, it's good, kind of the undercard for the golf tournament today is Fred being put to the test because he apparently shot his mouth off at some point and said that he could outrun a golf cart in a 40-yard dash. And so that was going to happen before they teed off at 8 o'clock this morning. But we did not find out yet whether that is indeed the case, that Fred can outrun a golf cart.
And as you said, you've had different types of golf carts in your golfing career. So if it's the one that kind of sputters at the beginning, that's your only chance.
So is
you
it
take advantage of that sputter?
Is it a gas powered cart? Because those things can move.
Yeah.
Is it an electric cart? Have they adjusted the governor on that thing to keep that, keep it from? Because listen, I don't necessarily know people who've done it, but sometimes those golf carts can, they get a little fast, they get a little loose, they get a little out of control. There can be accidents,
and it's
so sometimes they turn those governors down to make sure that you can't get that thing going too fast.
It's a different day now. Have you seen some of the tricked out ones, the tricked out golf carts where you see them on, depending on certain communities. If you're
dad's got one.
Yeah, living in a gated community a little bit, and just kind of that's how you roll around.
My dad living in the Margaritaville complex.
Yeah.
And he's got nice decorated. It's got a wrap on it. It's got the whole thing.
That's right,
gentlemen. I have Scott from Rentham on the line.
Would
you like me to take the call?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, here we go.
Let's get Scott from Rentham on.
We've got eyes.
So what's going on?
What's going on, guys? Hey, I got a video from the team that's going to win the golf tournament. They win it every year. My boy TJ and Mikey. So I do have a video of it from behind. It's one of the worst things you'll ever see.
Oh,
pretty
wow.
much. Fred did win. Fred runs straight up and down, which is weird. The cart looked slow. It looked overloaded. And there was some mutant running next to Fred. Looked like he had poo in his pants. It may have been Nick. Nick has done that before. But I hope that wasn't Nick. But,
Nick can't run. His heart will explode.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful, Ryan. It's embarrassing we do these things, actually.
So Fred won? He won the race?
Fred won. Yeah, Fred won.
Did he win? How would you, Zoe, you've done this. how would you characterize this? Was this an easy win? Was it emphatic? Was it an ugly win? What do we got?
I think it's a very easy win. First of all, Mike, I know the golf carts have come a long way, like you said. Yes, some can reach top speed, especially the off-road ones. But it's right when you push that foot down. There's about a 2-second delay, and that's where you got it, before the cart starts moving, because it's electric. This is why you don't buy electric. You get a gas-powered cart, now we're talking. That thing would blow Fred's doors off.
Fred's 40 time faster or slower than Rich Eisen?
Oh, slower.
So you
Rich Eisen got mad at me. Rich Eisen got mad at me because I was ripping on his 40. It's actually pretty fast.
So what if you were advising Fred on technique? How can he become a better, more efficient runner? What does he need to work on, Zoe?
I would tell him to do what David Ortiz does when he rounds second. For whatever reason, Big Papi, when he would hit long ones, and it wasn't a home run, and he's trying to get to third, he would duck his head and bend over, thinking that makes him faster, which it actually doesn't. It technically slows you up, but it's just the appearance of going faster.
You got to streamline. That's all. You just you duck that head down. It's you're cutting down on the airflow.
Yeah, it was a pretty hokey station event, though. That's one. Adam, you've done station and hokey events a long time. It's in your bottom fifth.
That was a rock radio DJ for decades, so you know that I specialize in hokey station events. You kidding me?
Any other day, I'd rather watch a monkey ride a dog. And we did that out in Denver for halftime.
That's right.
It was the greatest halftime show I ever saw.
Right.
All right, we're going to put that down for this or that.
But monkey riding a dog.
What would you rather?
I got to get over there.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks for the update, Zoe. There you go. So Fred wins the golf cart race.
He was right. Ultimately, he was right. Of course.
Did you end up taking that action with Hardy, Holly, or did you skip sending the text?
Hardy offered you 5-1 odds. Right?
He's going to do the right thing. He'll do the right thing, and we'll make sure it goes to the right place. My account. Yeah. I'll check in with Hardy. He's a fair man. I'm a fair man. We'll make it right.
5-1.
5-1. I don't know.
Did I not call that perfectly? That there's a little lag time on a lot of these golf carts. You press the gas, it doesn't go right away.
That's where you win.
So said there's like a 2. So you get out of the blocks fast. You're going to beat that thing before it gets up to speed. See, if it were 100-yard dash, the golf cart wins it going away. But 40. The golf cart isn't designed to go like 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds.
I don't want to see Fred or a golf cart go 100 yards. So 40 yards is about right for everybody, for every machine and person involved.
All right, so congratulations to Fred.
Yeah, see, told you.
Now he's got like 3 days before he has to be back in here. So if he pulled a hammy or anything like that, he can ice up. Be good to go.
Getting on a plane to Detroit later this afternoon. See how that
go
goes
see
for him.
Kendrick Lamar.
That's right.
All right. We'll get into the stack coming up next. Ryan Johnston, Michael Holly in for the guys today on Toucher and Hardy. Michael Holley, that the NBA does not listen to its fans.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed this on the broadcast last night, but after game 1 of the NBA Finals broadcast, there was an uproar among people in the online community that there were no logos anywhere. The NBA Finals logo missing from the court. You know, they've got advertising on the court.
Right.
But remember back in the day, they used to have, they put like the big Larry O'Brien trophy in the middle of the they'd have the Finals logo.
The Finals, which they went away from,
Right.
and then some reporters, a couple of reporters who I know, put some pressure on the league and said, "Hey, Adam Silver, what are you doing? Bring back that beautiful cursive,
right?
The Finals." So J.A. Adonde was one of the people who said, "Hey, you got to bring back that's the iconic that's the iconic look of the NBA Finals." And Silver listened. They brought that back.
So this year, game 1 comes, there's no logos anywhere. People are going, how am I supposed to know it's the Finals if there's no final? Like, how do you not put a Finals logo on the court anywhere? Adam Silver was asked about it and said, we understand people have the nostalgia for that. Maybe it's something we ought to look into. Last night, there are the logos, except they're the fake logos that are just being superimposed on the TV broadcast. They're not actually there. So during the first quarter, there's just these 2 little Larry O'Brien trophy things that are being superimposed in a couple. And then you come back in the second quarter, and they've got the old school script Finals logo with the YouTube sponsorship right underneath it. And they're grainy and they're blurry and they look like they spent at least 30 seconds trying to figure out how to get them in there, but they're clearly not there. What's the deal here?
Somebody first learning how to use technology.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Just let me just drag that. Remember, old school Apple. Let me drag it from here to there.
The cheerleaders comes out and they're waving the flag, and the flag is superimposing the trophy over top of the flag. It looks ridiculous. But at least they're trying. They're trying to give the people what they want.
Here's the real problem that they can't overcome. The team itself in Oklahoma City is fine. Really good, balanced, competitive, tough, talented team. The market sucks. I mean, you're in Oklahoma City. It is so lame. It is so collegiate, but not in a positive sense. You know what their great chant is? OKC, OKC. Usually, when they give out those freebies, like if you go to a Celtics game or a Bruins game, they put something down in the playoffs, whatever.
You get a towel, you get a shirt, whatever. Yeah.
Most of the time, if you're in a major market, they put the shirt down. Maybe half the people will put the shirt on, and then you do like me. I'm like, I'll take this to the kids, and they'll be excited. People there all put it on.
You're not taking – so, like, if the team wants to do, like, a white out, you're not putting on the white T-shirt.
No, come on, stop this. And it's just, I guess I still hold it against them. So it's hard for me to move on from like an NBA that I respected, like some of the markets that I respected. I liked that Seattle had a team. And so the Seattle Supers, I look at them and say, like, you're taking something that belongs to Seattle. You're not the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're the Seattle Supersonics. You took Seattle's team. And when they got to the conference, when they got to the championship, and they won the conference finals against the Timberwolves, their coach said, "Hey, I want to thank Mr. Bennett and his vision." Vision? What was the vision? Guy from Oklahoma City, buys a team in Seattle, never moves to Seattle, pretends like he's working with civic leaders to come up with a new arena. He never wanted to. He wanted to move the team, so that was his vision. I had enough money to buy the Seattle Supersonics, and I moved them to Oklahoma. Good for you. I'm rooting against him. Can you tell?
A little bit. All right. We got a few minutes to go here. Wanted to make mention. Adam Twelve brought this up off the air. Want to make mention that last week, the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association added 8 new names to the state's Hall of Fame broadcasting talent. And people like Randy Price, longtime news anchor, Carolyn Cruiser, who worked right down the hall from us in this very building, and your former partner, Dale Arnold, is on the list, as was Dennis Eckersley. And we were just talking about this off the air. Dennis Eckersley, 24-year Major League career, 20 as a broadcast. I didn't realize he was with NESN for 20 years.
20 years. And you can't even teach what he was able to do. Like he made it seem so natural. It was natural. Like a lot of, and I don't know if you tell people who want to be in this business, if you give them advice, a lot of them come in with the broadcaster's voice, and I must talk like this. He talked like himself the entire time. He used language that was relatable, yet he was smart. He was insightful. But you felt like you got to know Dennis Eckersley, and he still was able to do that's a hard balance to pull off. You're able to do a professional, high-caliber broadcast, yet somebody who's just walking by and watching you on TV thinks, hey, oh, yeah, that's my guy. That's my boy. He was great at it. I thought his Hall of Fame speech was incredible. He was very emotional. You can tell he still misses it. Mm. And he broke up a little bit when he talked about how he misses it every day, but he made the right decision. And for those of you, and I know you all remember, when he decided that he was going to step away from the booth, he said he wanted to spend more time with his family and his grandkids. And so he acknowledged his wife and talked about how much he loves her and how many sacrifices she made and their family has made. Because as he pointed out, when you're doing this job, and anybody in this job can relate to it, it just consumes you. Even on off days, it consumes you. It reminds me of, I think it was it Bill Walsh, or maybe it was Bill Walsh or his wife or Jimmy Johnson. He's sitting there having lunch with his wife, and his wife says, what is it, third and long right now? Because he's kind of looking off. You're not listening to anything I'm saying. And Dale Arnold, look, it was a pleasure for me to work with him for a decade. And it's going to happen, RJ. Some of the people you're working with now, you're working with Hall of Famers.
True.
Bob Beers going to be in Hall of Fame one day.
I hope so.
Yeah. And so. It's a thrill that you get to work with such talented people.
Real quick before we go, Doug Kyde just tweeted, the Patriots have shortened mandatory minicamp to 2 days. They will be in the facility on Wednesday, but will not practice. So
come on.
Today and tomorrow is all 3 days to 2.
What? You won 4 games last year. What are you doing?
No days off. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Zoe and Beetle coming up next.
Talk to you tomorrow.